to the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special. Brought to you by Miami Savings Bank. Visit Kevin McKeon in Oxford at 475 McGuffey Avenue or call 513-523-7711. Miami Savings Bank. Our focus is you. The 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special. And now your host, the voice of the Red Hawks, Steve Baker. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the 2019 National Signing Day Special. I'm Steve Baker, joined by head coach Chuck Martin. And over the next 2.5 hours, we will introduce you to the new class of Miami Red Hawk football players signing their national letter of intent to attend Miami University today. It's an exciting couple of hours and a large class of Red Hawks to talk about. And Coach, we'll talk about the recruiting process here in just a few, but let's talk about last season and getting ready, obviously, for the recruiting season, that sort of thing. But let's do kind of a recap of the season last year. Obviously, 6-6. Would love to get that 7th win, but still a lot of positive takeaways from last season.
Yeah, we had a great year. I know most people look at the record and talk about 6-6 and 7 would have got us to bowl. We start off 0-3. We're not real happy with how we played the first 3 weeks. We played very good opponents. We're not taking anything away from our opponents. Like I always say, we played really good opponents the first 3 weeks. Played a Big Ten team, a 10-2 team, an 8-4 team. So we know they're quality opponents, but we always look at how we play, and we weren't happy with how we execute on offense, defense, and special teams the first 3 weeks. That led into conference season. Once we get into conference season, obviously when you go 6-2 in the league, you have the second best record in the league. You're one game behind Buffalo. They're 7-1. Us, OU, and Northern are 6-2. We beat OU and Northern week 10 and week 11. So you can clearly stake a claim that you're the second best team in the MAC. You can't stake the claim against Buffalo. But you go 6-2 in the league. We're 16-6 in the MAC over the last 22 games, which makes us tied with Northern Illinois and Toledo for the best record in the MAC over basically the last 3 seasons. Right. So tough loss to Army mixed in with the 6-2 conference record during the last 9 games. Anyone who watched that game or knows anything about football or looks at how we played that game and really how Army played that game was one of the better football games of the year from a competitiveness and playing the game right way in a very mistake-free game. So really happy with how we played the last 9 weeks. Really happy with where our football team's at. You lose James Gardner, who's your All-American receiver, who's a draftable kid. You lose 6 to 7 starters on defense. And our kids showed the depth that we've been working to get to for 5 years. Like, we couldn't pull this off 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because you can't lose 6 senior starters on defense in the middle of the season, then go into your conference schedule with basically most of your preseason all-conference guys not even available to you. But because we've been recruiting, because we've been building this program the right way for 5 years, we have now all of a sudden we got these young guys coming in that no one's even really heard of, and they're stepping in for senior 2- and 3-year starters, and we're able, even without a full deck, to compete with the top teams in our league and to beat the OUs and beat the Northern Illinois and to play great football along the way. What we did not turning the football over, we've been working to get to this point to where we don't turn it, because that's what great teams do. All the things we did statistically, if you look us within the MAC conference, that were in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the part. When you talk about rush defense, when you talk about running the ball, all the keys to having success, we're finally getting to the point where we're doing the things that winning teams do on a consistent basis, and that's why we end up 6-2 in the league and having a really fine conference schedule.
One of the key things that when you look at this team and what they did accomplish in those last several weeks is you talked about it, 6 starters on the defense, not there. You recruit those guys, you expect them to play. Were you surprised at the level at which those young guys, and we're talking some guys that just stepped on the field this fall, that they were able to play to in those final weeks?
Yeah, you don't really know when you're putting those young guys. You got a Jaden Rucker-Furlow as a true freshman out of Dayton Belmont. Do we think he's going to play at a very high level? Yeah, that's why we recruited him. Did he show signs in fall camp that he has some nice tools? Yeah, he showed some great signs. But to put him in those situations, you don't really know. You know Jaden's going to be a really good player here, or a Sterling Weather, but you don't know if they can do it at that young an age. And it's a testament to the coaches. It's a testament to themselves and their preparation. But more, it's a testament to our whole team, because our whole team embraced the fact that, okay, we don't have a Junior McMullen, a James Gardner, a DeAndre Montgomery, a DeAndre Daniels, a Darius Thompson, a Nate Trey, and the list goes on and on and on. That, hey, we have to collectively, one, we got to embrace some of these young guys, and we got to help them along. So it wasn't just a coach or a player preparing, it was everyone else helping, like, hey, we've played a lot of games you haven't, here's how you handle it, here's how you travel. Brad Koenig taking Miles Reed under his wing, and Miles played some crazy great football for us down the stretch, but and Coach Nowinski did a great job, and Miles did a great job, but also Brad Koenig knew, okay, this Junior's not here anymore. I gotta take on more responsibility as a player, but I also got to take on more responsibility as a mentor because I got this kid that hasn't played a lot of football that now we're counting on. So the whole team embraced. Like I said, we played really good football for the last 9 weeks. I know 6-6 isn't what anybody wants. I get it all the time. You know, our non-conference schedule, we embraced it. We played. You know, we didn't play any 1AA teams. If we do, everybody's talking about, boy, I wish you had 7th win. If we played a 1AA team, we would have the 7th win. And we would be in a bowl. But we played a very difficult non-conference schedule. And I said early when we were 0-3 and you were there, like, this is going to prepare us for the conference schedule, which is the most important thing. And we were pretty battle-tested when you play Marshall, Cincinnati, and Minnesota right out of the chute. You don't get the cupcake win. And some of our teams in our league had 2 cupcake wins. They played a really not too difficult 1A team that, you know, a 2-10 team, or we didn't play any of those teams, you know. It prepared us, and then you also learn about yourself. And again, you don't ever want to lose, all right? You don't ever accept losing, but you also learn something. Hey, after week 3, we had a pretty good inventory. We played pretty good opponents. We know what we're good at. And these are the areas, and we improved in a lot of areas based on playing that difficult a schedule. And again, would I like to have another couple non-conference wins? Yeah, we're never going to accept them. We're working that point. But it also made us pretty battle-tested, and it gave us a pretty good inventory that we're not playing really good in this area, and we really be able to focus on this area and get better in this area. And we got better in a lot of those areas, you know. And again, we play in 2 divisions. If we play in 1 division, it's us and Buffalo playing for the MAC championship. But we play in 2 divisions, and we are 6-2. Northern was 6-2. Who ends up winning our league? We beat them head-to-head. We would have went if it was just one. So there's all sorts of factors in. It was a great football season for Miami football. Our kids play their tails off. Our coaches, we overcame a lot of things, and we showed the strength of our program over the last 2.5 years of where we are in MAC play. Which, again, we're 4-26 before that going into like. We've come a long way in a short time, and we're not even scratching the surface of what we want to become as we start to segue into our recruiting class. We're recruiting better and better and higher rated and the whole deal every single season based on the facilities that David Saylor has went out and raised and based on the successes we've had on the field. It's a lot easier to sell kids that, hey, we're 16-6 the last 22 games. We have tied for the best record in the MAC over the last 3 seasons. That's a lot better sell than when we got here and saying, okay, we haven't won a game in 2 seasons and we don't have any facilities, please come to Miami. Yeah,
I've had a chance to look over the list of recruits. We'll introduce you to those here in just a bit. 29 signing their national letter of intent today, a large class, Coach. Let's talk about the process of putting this class together and holding it together for the most part as you enter signing day today.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting recruiting. Crazy, fluid, you know, but we've been really good, our system's been really good at getting ahead of the curve. And we have the earliest junior days. We have more kids on campus in January. Like, we're already well into next year's class. We got the first of Saturday in January, we got a junior day. We'll probably have 200-300 kids here. Last year, that first junior day, there's 9 kids. Well, why do you do everything so early? Well, there's 9 kids in this class that were at that first Saturday junior day a year ago. And we track all that stuff. So we get the jump on a lot of people. Not everyone. A lot of people are doing what we're doing, but we get the jump on a lot of people. We get more good players on our campus early, and we feel like if we can get them to Miami and they can see our campus and they can really learn about our academics and what we can do for them for the rest of their lives, and then they see our facilities. Yeah, we got nice videos of our facilities, but they don't do them justice till you see them firsthand. They get around our players and coaches, we're going to have a chance. And like I said, we landed 9 kids out of the 29. A third of our class was from that, because everybody's like, why are you doing a junior day so early? It's January of their junior year. I'm like, well, there's 9 really good players that came to that one, and that was the starting process. We had 24 kids committed before the season, which was insane. At one point, we were the 19th ranked class in the country, which we knew wouldn't hold because the big boys, we just had more recruits.
Sure.
But we've had more 3-stars in this class than we've ever had. The rankings are the rankings, but this is the highest ranked class we've ever had as far as stars. And then you got to hold on to them, as you said. And we did a really good job through the season, and we had really good relationships with these kids. So none of the 24 that were committed left us. And then what we did a better job, which I don't think we've done a good job on the back end. I think there's teams in our league that have done a better job on the back end of getting kids late and sticking with kids. And we got some nice late kids here. We got 5 or 6 kids after Thanksgiving that I think are really difference maker potential players, and they're kids that probably last July didn't think they were coming to Miami. And I think we did a better job. We talked about doing a better job, and I think our assistants really did a nice job of sticking with some kids, and then there's coaching changes. And so there's a couple kids we got from another school were committed, coaching change, now they're not committed, and it was over because our coaches had stuck with those kids, where some of the other coaches that maybe would have had a chance to get the kid didn't stick with them, and it was over. They came to us and it was done. So I think we did a better job of sticking with the process, not just with the committed kids, but staying and tracking good players that we want that maybe don't want us yet, and maybe we get them late, and we're going to talk about a lot of those guys coming up.
We are indeed. We're going to talk about the players coming up, all of the individuals coming up, but I have to ask you, just looking over this, and you talked about the rankings on this team, I'm looking at size, height, weight, the skills. I've seen some of the videos. This just, looking at the lines, and I know how important the defensive line recruits are, they're coming in at such a higher level, at height, weight, strength, looks like everything.
Yeah, and it seems like every year that's where we're going.
We were recruiting 20 tight ends a few years ago.
Yeah, just in general, just how big these kids are nowadays, and the length and the size. And the high school programs continue to get better and better, and the strength training gets better and better, and the genetics get better. So I think that's pretty normal across the board, across the country, but certainly way different from us than when we got here, when we were playing with 260-pound linemen and 265. Now they're coming in at 300 pounds.
Right.
And there's a big difference. And even the length and size of our other positions, we're much bigger across the board, from DBs to linebackers, D-line, right across the board on offensively. The thing I will say about this class as a general is we are adding toughness to our football team, right? And in Miami, because of you're going to recruit to where you're at, and because of Miami and the academics and the campus, and you can at times a maybe a little softer kid would be attractive. And you learn that as you go.
Sure.
You're learning every second of every day, and the longer you're at a school, the more you understand. And to me, you're always looking for those high-end students, and to me, this class has, and you're going to see it on tape, has a lot of high-end students in here. Don't get me wrong, we're still recruiting Miami caliber kids, but there's a toughness factor and a passion for the game, which we're always looking for. But you'll see it. There's a lot of kids that'll knock the daylights out of you, and it's a pretty fun group to watch. So I thought we were the toughest we ever were mentally and physically a year ago, but I still think we got a ways to go as far as mental and physical toughness to really become the program consistently we want to be, and I think this group is going to add toughness the day they walk in the door.
Let's talk about the size of the class in numbers-wise. 29 athletes signing their letter to attend Miami University today. That's a large class. How do you get to that number?
And you only get 25 initials. It means you can only have 25 initial counters every year without getting into crazy rule. Last year we only had 19 because we only had so many seniors leaving, so we had to take a smaller class. We have 6 mid-semester kids, which is the most we've ever had. We have 6 kids that are enrolling here in January, which again will be great for us, great for spring ball, and obviously great for them to get a jump start on their college career. We're allowed per NCAA rules to roll those kids back because they're mid-semester kids. And then the second piece, there's another factor in that you also have to have kids graduating because we're so good academically here, and everybody thinks we get kids all the time, will I make it at Miami? It's so hard. Our kids are graduating 4 to 4.5 years, so because we just had a bunch of kids graduate, the Kennys and the Zoes graduate, and the Gus's graduate much earlier than most kids, that allows us to count kids forward because you have to have kids leaving your program. So we have these kids graduate early, we have these kids early enroll, we're getting to count 6 back. So even though we took 29, which seems like it's over the limit, it's perfectly legal, and we still have 2 to play with. So we always like to keep a couple in our pocket for who might be down the road that may also enhance our program. So although it seems like we're overbooked already, we're actually in very good shape based on last year and based on kids graduating. So the academics at Miami, everybody tries to use that. It's so hard, don't go there, It actually works in your favor 9 times out of 10.
In most cases, as a matter of fact. 29 names signed to national letters of intent today to attend Miami University. We'll start introducing you to some of those men when we return in just a moment. The 2019 National Signing Day Special for Miami University on the way. We'll continue in just a moment.
Join the Redhawks as they close out 2018 with 4 big events still in the month of December. Coach Jack Owens and the men's basketball team take on South Carolina State University on Thursday, December 20th, and Evansville on Sunday, December 30th. Head coach Megan Duffy and the women's basketball Redhawks take on Ohio Dominican on Saturday, December 29th at 2 p.m. And the final event of 2018 will be on Sunday, December 30th at 4 p.m. as the Brotherhood takes on Guelph in an exhibition game at 4 p.m. at Steve Coach Katie Arena. Get your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295. This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank. Our focus is you. Miami University and the athletic department are celebrating the partnership that has been created with the Miami Tribe in Oklahoma and the Miami Student Center on campus during the Omaha Hockey Series. Special guests from the Tribe will be on hand throughout the weekend with special giveaways to all fans and PNC scarves for students on Friday. The Miami University Marching Band will perform on ice during the first intermission Friday night. And Miami men's basketball hosts Ohio for the Battle for the Bricks and to celebrate basketball alum Wayne Embry, who will be in attendance at the game to have his accomplishments celebrated. Buy your tickets today for this great weekend by calling 513-529-4295.
And we are back here in Oxford at the Yager Stadium studios, and we are the 2019 National Signing Day Special. Steve Baker, head coach Chuck Martin. And let's get down to it. Let's start introducing you to the men who signed a national letter of intent. And we're going to start with the offensive line. I was talking with Coach in our first segment about the big guys, and we certainly have 5 of them to tell you about in this segment. And we will begin. The graphic says next up, it's first up for a Colerain High School graduate, 6'5", 315-pound Rusty Feth.
Yeah, obviously we got 4 kids coming out of one of the best programs in the country, let alone one of the best programs in the state of Ohio. Coach Bolden, obviously, they were ranked, I think, 7th in the country nationally this year. Rusty, unfortunately, got a knee injury, got hurt early in the year, missed almost his whole entire season, and then actually got to play in the state championship game, which you're looking at some clips of him just knocking the daylights. And if you know anything about Colerain football, as everybody in this area, obviously, everybody in the state of Ohio knows, there's a toughness. They're tremendously talented kids, but there's a toughness involved with Colerain football that anytime you get a kid from that type of program, you're going to have to teach him less about the grind. You're going to have to teach him less about competitiveness. Rusty's a great kid. He's a great student, comes from a great family. But you just see, when I talk about physical and nasty and tough, starting off with Rusty is a pretty good way to say that what this class looks like. I'm crazy proud of him this year because, again, kids get hurt and they're saying, I'm going to help the team. And he went through like 9 weeks and he was at every game and he was cheering on, and like he kept saying we, like every time I talked to him on the phone, we did this and we did this. And he wasn't even playing. So just a great character kid, really, really smart. Already weighs 300 plus pounds, already has a ton of strength because they do lift weights down there at Colerain quite frequently. He will have a chance to compete and come in and physically match up early in his career here.
Yeah, team captain. He was named All-Ohio Fall All-Star second team as a junior, first team All-Conference as a junior as well, and of course played in the state title game this year with the Cardinals as well. Up next, we travel down to Kentucky, George Rogers Clark High School, 6'7", 290-pound offensive lineman Ben Jackson.
Yeah, incredible length, all right, and again, it's hard to find O-linemen. It's really hard to find guys that can potentially play tackle, that have the length and the feet. And we're lucky enough in this class to find a couple that we really feel like can play on the edge. Obviously, we lose Rig on the edge. We got guys coming back, but you're always looking for those young guys. Tremendous, talented kid. Really, most of those 6'7" kids can't control their body, can't bend. They're not very flexible, and Ben's just the opposite. Ben's a big kid that can move. You see him out here on these plays, moving, pulling, getting out on screens, and sticking and staying on people, which at that high size, you usually fall off in high school just because you don't have the core strength. And again, he's just scratching the surface. He's going to be he's already a very large individual, but you get him eating, and you get him in our weight program, and you put his athleticism, his length, as you see him right out here pulling out on a Philly play, knocking guys all the way down. And then the toughness, like we said, we're getting to be more selective every year at Miami. So we're getting a little better player, a little more athletic player, a little bigger player, but we're also getting a tougher physically and mental type player. And as we keep progressing and building this program, and here's a perfect example of a kid that, like you said, our first year we're taking tight ends and trying to turn them into offensive linemen. Now we're taking kids that are already ready-made offensive linemen and tremendous football players. So really super excited. Anytime you get a quality O-lineman, you know that I'm a closet O-line guy, and that's where I believe the game starts and ends. But when you get those guys that you think can play on the edge and have the feet and athleticism, whether he ends up playing on Sundays, he's going to look like he can play on Sundays sometime in the very near future.
Absolutely. A team captain. He was best of the Bluegrass State All-Star as a senior. First team All-District, a junior. He earned All-State honorable mention. He was also named the GRC's offensive line MVP. Also lettered in basketball, so you got a two-sport athlete there. Next up, we'll stay in the state of Kentucky, Martha Lane Collins High School. Another team captain, 6'5", 315-pound offensive lineman Nathan Jacobs.
Yeah, and first team All-State player in Kentucky. And again, everybody always asks about recruiting, and we got 3 really good old linemen all from the Lexington area. And it's like, we recruit the Midwest, and wherever they are in the Midwest, and Lexington's a couple hours from us. But Nathan, again, great size at 6'5", 315 pounds already, has some great strength to him for a high school kid. Most high school kids aren't strong as his. And then again, as you watch the tape, has the nasty to pull off. It was like, I couldn't beg kids my first 2 seasons here that were on my team to pancake guys and grind them in the ground and feel good about it because we were so dang nice. And now you're watching these high school kids and their size, and now you're going to watch some of his flexibility and athleticism throwing the shot. And just again, you're talking about a 315-pound kid spinning around and having that balance and already having that spatial awareness. So we've once again, Coach Burnett's put together a really good young, and we've built incredible depth in our offense line. We got really, really good players up there, and it's been a really strength of our football team. And we got 5 kids coming in next year that I think are going to continue to build and make it even better as we move forward.
Absolutely. And by the way, Nathan Jacobs, a 2-time state champion in the discus throw in the state of Kentucky as well. Up next, we go to the Hoosier State, Carmel, Indiana, and Carmel High School. Great high school football program. 6'5", 300-pound offensive lineman Caleb Schaefer.
Again, state runners-up. They either win the state or they're runners-up every year. Caleb's big. He's crazy athletic. He's incredibly intelligent. He's an incredibly well-rounded young man. I have a hard time talking to Caleb sometimes because he's a little more mature than I am at times. So I always got to be on my best game when I talk to Caleb. He's just, his mother has raised him incredibly well. But, he had a legitimate offer from Purdue. And the strength of our program and the strength of Miami as a university, he's a great student from a great high school. And Carmel's like Miami, that they're great in athletics, but they're also great in academics. That kids come out of Carmel looking, this is the 3rd kid with Nate Becker and Jalen already on our team from Carmel. But Caleb turned down a Purdue offer, and legitimate, not hey, they pulled it like a legitimate Purdue offer and chose Miami over Purdue. And Purdue's got a great school and a great program, and it's a testament to what we're building here. And when I say these players are better than ever, they're better than ever during our time here. And Caleb, again, physically, is there going to be a process with him like everybody? Yeah, but physically,
sure,
he's going to be able to show up here and physically handle his business the day he walks in the door. And we're super excited to have Caleb, and he's got a chance to have a really long football career.
Also a two-sport athlete. He was a member of the track team at Carmel. And one of the stats I love, as a junior, set a school record for pancake blocks. Yes. And that's the one you got to love, right?
Yes, no. And again, physicality and toughness and mental toughness and legally dominating your opponent, that's what this is all about.
Right. Let's go on back down to Kentucky, Versailles, Kentucky, and from Lexington Catholic High School, 6'7", 275 pounds, Sam Vaughn.
Yeah, and Sam's another one that has that length to play on the edge and has the athleticism, as you'll see on tape. He can really plays basketball. I always liked him. And then I was having a conversation with him over the summer, and he told me his favorite basketball player was Bill Laimbeer. And I thought, man, the fact that a kid nowadays even know who Bill Laimbeer is, but anybody remembers how Bill Laimbeer played, I'm like, I like that mentality.
I like that, right.
We don't want to get kicked out of games, but I like that mentality. So crazy athletic, still a very young body. He's only 275 pounds. He's going to be 350 on a drop back, but you watch him get out here on a screen pass, and then again, stick and stay, which is almost impossible for the 6'5" high school kid. He's 6'7". Staying on blocks and having your core strength and your flexibility and your balance to do this, and it's just over and over as he's burying kids. But crazy athleticism, has the mental toughness, and has a very high motor and has a ton of energy, and tremendous student, and exactly what you're looking for at Miami University.
Absolutely, a two-sport athlete, again, lettered in basketball at Lexington Catholic High School, and was also best of the Bluegrass, participated in that all-star game as well as the Blue-Gray Combine. Great accolades for Sam Vaughn, again, out of Versailles, Kentucky. That's a look at the 5 offensive linemen, and Coach, just looking at height, weight, skills, you've seen the videos. It looks like you can put those guys out there right now, put them 5 across, and they're going to do a pretty good job.
Coach Burnett has done a really good job in his career of putting heat on the guys in your program.
Exactly.
You know, and he's done that every year he's been here. And you can even ask our seniors last year, the McCollums and Riggs, saying, hey, we got to get better because these young guys are coming.
Yeah.
You know, and now there's another group coming in, and just keep putting the pressure on and that's how the older guys stay sharp and get better. You know, early we're here, there's no competition. Right. You got a good players looking around. I can practice, not practice. I'm going to play. You're all I got, coach. Where, again, that's what you do as you build a program the right way, and you build it with high school seniors. And it's a very good situation for us up front at Miami right now.
Coming up, we'll introduce you to more of the national signees today for Miami University football. But coming up next, Coach Martin had a chance to talk with some of the seniors a week or so ago. And I know that's always fun for you to sit down and talk to the guys about, what they've learned, not only from football, but the other aspects of life at the university.
Yeah, we got such an awesome group of kids, as you know. So we had a blast. It was like a talk show. Now you're not going to see all the clips. I wish I could show you all the clips because we were asking them everything about life in Oxford. There's some things we couldn't put on the air,
right.
About favorite places to go and favorite moments. But what an incredibly group of well-rounded young men that came here, like we said, and jumped on the Titanic. And they leave here knowing that, like I said, 16-6 over the last two plus years, and accomplishing and they know they've turned this program around, and they know that it's only getting better. They'll be the first one to tell you that these young guys coming in are bigger and stronger and faster than ever. So hopefully the fans enjoy this. I think they will. There's some really good stuff in here.
All right, Coach Martin will talk with some of the seniors when we return. The National Signing Day Special 2019 version coming to you from Oxford, Ohio, and we'll continue right after this.
Miami opens up 2019 with an exciting first 2 weeks. Both men's and women's basketball will be in action at home. The men host Central Michigan on January 5th at 2 p.m. and Northern Illinois on January 8th at 7 p.m. The women's team will host Toledo on January 9th at 7 p.m. and the Buffalo Bulls come calling on January 12th at 2 p.m. The promotional highlight of this 2-week stretch will be on Saturday, January 5th, as Miami Athletics hosts Carnival on the Concourse during pregame with inflatables and games open to all ages, and the Pacers Power Pack Dunk Team at halftime on the same day. Buy your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Follow the Redhawks as Miami women's basketball hosts Northern Illinois on Wednesday, February 13th, with the Miami University Percussion Ensemble performing at halftime. Jack Owen's men's basketball team hosts Ball State the following Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we'll be recognizing all student athletes who have received a 3.0 or higher GPA over the past 2 semesters, as well as recognizing Miami faculty and staff with discounted tickets. Buy your tickets today at 513-529-4295.
Again, I think it goes back to working hard. I think just understanding, things are given to you and you have to work for what you do. And I think my work ethic has gone up since I've been here. I think I came in as a high school. I was shocked at everything we were doing when I first got here, and it's helped me evolve where I've adapted to. That's now my norm. It's not different, but working hard is now normal and something I try to do.
All right. Persistence is key. That's one of the biggest things in life that I think will take you far. Just always being persistent and just always doing the same thing.
I mean, I think it's what you taught me. It's you can learn from every different asset of your life. You could get a promotion, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to stop learning. It doesn't mean that you did everything right to get that promotion. There's still things you can work on, and you can fail, and are you going to fail and then just say, okay, I'm going to try this next time, or are you going to attack that same thing and learn what you did bad and try to overcome it? So I think it's just how to overcome failure and how to find the learning experiences through your successes.
Probably, I would say time management. Like, you don't have a lot of time on your hands, so make sure you get your school done and make sure you balance that with football. It's like one thing I learned a lot from being here.
Every day is really hard. If you go into it thinking it's easy, you're dumb. So if you treat it like it's going to be really hard, I think you're going to be really successful. If you treat every day like it's a game day, you're going to be really successful. You're going to get really good at everything you do.
I'm going to go probably Tommy Doyle.
All right, why Tommy?
Just an interesting guy, always can create a conversation out of nothing. Look at the guy, he can give you a nice laugh when you're down.
Yeah.
I might just stick with Bart, my roommate, just
All
because
right.
I know. I'll go with that.
So you're going to be in a car with Bart for 12 hours?
Maybe not, actually.
Maybe not. You've already reevaluated.
I might go Cam Turner.
All right, why are you going Cam?
He will keep conversation going. He'll keep it interesting. He's gonna say something absurd. I know we're gonna argue the whole way. So
There you go.
It'll
So
be a
he'd
good ride.
He'd be a good wingman.
My freshman year when we beat Ball State, Zoe's big run versus Ball State. But I think my favorite team moment might have been the win versus Northern Illinois.
I don't know if I have one moment. I think the back half of the year, though, just felt like a great group of guys. Just felt like we kind of were coming together close and put things together. And I just thought the back half felt really a really good team.
I think my favorite game would probably be the Army game this year, even though it was a tough loss. It was so much fun and, you know, a packed crowd. And I have two buddies that go to West Point, so it was good to see them after the game because I haven't talked to them in a while.
I mean, the honest answer is my only real option, Division I for football. I really wanted to play football. My dream I had Wayne State and like FCS, but I really just wanted to see if I could do it at Division I, and lucky enough to get the offer here, or the walk-on offer here.
The people, it's a great atmosphere. What we have going here is gonna be special.
You know, I came to Miami, love the academics, and all the coaches through the recruiting process really sold me to this place, and it's close to home, which has been, you know, great for me with a bunch of different benefits that I didn't even think of. Nate Becker, I'd say, he's in the same room, you know, an animal in the weight room, like always working hard, vocal leader, so he's definitely someone that I've looked up to since I've been here.
Jack Sorensen.
All right. Why do you respect how he plays?
Plays hard all the time. He's giving effort 100% every play, even if the ball's not coming to him.
I have to say Brad Koenig, because the type of play he is. When I watch him play, I don't even think that, you know, I forget that he was a walk-on, and he just finesse. You know how to move around and make great plays. I'm on the sideline like a little kid, like, let's go, Brad.
Yeah,
So,
he's fun to watch.
yeah.
Alonzo Smith. I think that just the way he runs the ball, not only that, but just off the field, how he just carries himself, it's a lot to respect. So
Gus, he's a competitor, he's a gamer. He's not the fastest, he's not the strongest. He doesn't look the best either. Red hair, but he games. You know, you see this little redhead with sideburns and a scruffy beard, like this kid's about nothing. But he gets on that field and he's one of the best players, you know, that I ever played with or played against.
I mean, it's awesome. You know, he's a different type of coach than Coach Breeken. They both were great coaches and taught me a bunch of different stuff, but I think Izzy's more technical. He's been able to teach me different things on how to release, how to read somebody, how to run a route versus certain coverages. So just I've been able to learn composure and how to play receiver more or less.
Coach Breeken is more like knowing what the offense is trying to do. It wasn't like that in high school because usually you're just better than everybody, but that doesn't really work in college. You have to know what the offense is trying to do and what you have to do to stop them from scoring.
Awesome. Makes you work every day, makes you come to work every day and better yourself, and he really treats you like a man, and that's what I like. That's what I love about him. So
it's been awesome. It's been, in a lot of ways, it kind of reminded me of playing for my dad. You know, tough, brutally honest. When you're doing good things and when you're doing bad things, he doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And then I loved every meeting we had. Every time I walked in that room, we had a good time. And I think that a lot of that was because of him, but it was also because of the guys he recruited and put in that room around me. So, I mean, every day with him was just, you know, a dream come true, really. Just, I don't think there's a lot more that a player can ask for.
Yeah, so Coach EJ is someone who I hold in the highest regards. I'm really lucky to meet him and to work with him. First off, he's an extremely passionate guy. He loves what he does. He loves football. You know, if he would pay money to be a football player right now, to be a player and put pads on. He's extremely technically sound. He's a great coach. You know, as long as being a leader and a passionate, you know, person, he knows how to coach football. He brought many new skills and tricks to trade that really, you know, like boosted my game. And you know, as a result, I became a better leader, be a more passionate football player, and see a way better football player. I played my best football my senior year, so that speaks volumes.
I've learned a lot about myself and what my game is and how to really just work at that and get better at whatever I can.
Coach Kaler always talks about just being right here, being the same guy every day, whether stuff's going right in your life, whether stuff's going wrong, being the same guy every day. And I think that taught me a lot of lessons. Obviously, lots happen here, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, on the field obviously, but off the field, I think that applies to your everyday life. And I had some good days here, had some bad days academically, family life, whatever it is. And you got to be the same guy every day. And I think one day I'm gonna have a family, and that's the type of dad I want to be. I think that's probably the greatest lesson he taught me here.
Cheer on the Miami Redhawks on January 18th and 19th. It's the first 4-game weekend for the Redhawk teams in 2019. Fans will have the opportunity to take in 2 hockey games against the reigning NCAA champion Minnesota Duluth, a women's basketball game against Ball State, and a men's basketball game against Akron. Make a weekend of it and cheer on the Redhawks. Buy your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Join Miami women's basketball on Saturday, February 23rd as they host Bowling Green at 2 p.m. for the annual Love, Honor, Care game. For the 6th straight year, Miami women's basketball will partner with Luna Cares, a local organization supporting women and their families who are battling cancer in the Talawanda School District. Through business donations, t-shirt sales, a game day silent auction, and other avenues, the team, as well as a group of supporters, will work to raise money to support Luna Cares as they pay for wigs, medical bills, living expenses, and other financial needs so that the women and their families can concentrate on beating their disease. All Oxford community members and Miami faculty and staff and their family members will be invited to attend the game through compliments of President Greg and Dr. Renata Crawford. More information to come after the start of the year on how to request your tickets to attend this great game and support this cause.
On this sheet, it's wrong.
We are back live in Oxford at our studios here at Yager Stadium for our National Signing Day special as we're introducing you to the new class of Redhawks that signed their national letter of intent today. I'm Steve Baker, and head coach Chuck Martin rejoins us. And coach, just watching the video there with your seniors and all of the different topics you covered. Number one, I'm impressed with every one of them as men and what they've grown into. But the things they're saying about their coaches and particularly the staff that you have, I want to touch on that because these guys are so invested in the men besides the football player on your staff, and do a great job of helping these guys not only on the field but as well as off the field and becoming men.
Yeah, and in 2018, you can't count them.
Right.
Like these kids knows, and we were brought up in a generation where it doesn't matter who coached you. You shut up and you listen to your coach. That's how we were raised. And it's not good, better, and different. It just is different now. Kids don't just shut up and listen. They know. They know if you can coach. They know if you're a good person. They know if you care about them. And that's what our guys are, great people. I've done a good job of hiring quality coaches, but I've done a great job of hiring quality people because that's who I want around our kids. And that's who the parents, when they go out on these recruiting trips now, they want to know. They don't want to just know how many kids you've coached that have got to the NFL. That's important to parents because they want their kid to go to the NFL. They also want to know who's going to be coaching my kid. What type of person is he? Is he a family guy? Is he not a family guy? And I always challenge the parents to inspect the staffs because I'll put my staff up again. Don't let them talk about family when family's really not important to them in their own household. Where our guys and our kids understand that our great family people, they truly do care about our kids' academic. They truly do care about them as people. They care about what's going on back home, the good and the bad. And they try to help develop them in all three phases as a person, as a player, and as a student at Miami. And they do a great job. And our kids are smart, and they recognize that, hey, my coach may be hard on me on the field, but he's there for me every time I need him off the field. Every time I need academic help, he's there, and he knows exactly what's going on in my life. And that's what's fun about our job.
As we talk about the class 29 athletes signing their national letter of intent, and we've talked about 5 of those gentlemen. Coach, we talked about the recruiting process, but in putting this class together, Obviously, you're addressing a lot of needs with this class. What were some of the specifics that you were looking for, saying, okay, putting this piece here and putting this piece here?
This year was different because we knew we had giant numbers.
Right.
And we knew if we could find some mid-semester kids, which we did a great job finding, we're going to even get to roll some back and have even more numbers. So some years when you're limited, you got to kind of more, we were going to take we took a 5-0 lineman. That's a starting 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
We took a guy, at least a guy at every position. Some positions we took more than we need. But for me, every year it's about toughness. We're getting tougher. We're getting mentally and physical tougher. And that's what I kept telling my staff. Like, we need all the raw materials. We need the heights. We need the weights. We need the jumping build. We need the catching build. We got that. But then don't just settle for that. Find the tough kid that loves to play and wants to be coached and wants to be coached hard. You know who we are. This school is not easy. They take real classes and real majors. You're talking about, 20% business majors and 12% engineering majors and 12% pre-med majors. That's about half your team.
Right.
So you better be a tough-minded kid if you want to come to Miami. You better be a tough-minded kid if you want to play in our program. And now that we have almost all tough-minded kids in our program, they won't even put up with it. It's not even the coaches driving anymore, that the players don't want a bunch of kids that don't want to compete. You saw it in a lot of our wins. You saw it even in an Army loss. The resolve, like, our team is not going to relent. We're going to keep coming at you. And so every year we're trying to build on that, and that's what really we were looking for, because we knew we were going to have the numbers to kind of cover every position.
Let's continue with our introducing you to the new signees, and in this segment we'll talk tight ends and wide receivers, and we'll begin again south of the Ohio River down in Florence, Kentucky, and Covington Catholic High School, 6'5", 215-pound tight end Jack Coldiron.
And again, trying to find great players from great programs. CovCath, obviously, we got A.J. Mayer and Cam Butler a year ago, and now you come back and you get the all-time leading touchdown guy in school history. I actually saw him play a year ago when I was down at a game recruiting A.J. and Cam. And Jack's played receiver. We think he's going to continue to grow into being a tight end. We just think Mother Nature will take care of that. He's 6'5", 215 already, but he's got great ball skills. He can really run. He's tough. He comes again from, like we're talking about Colerain, you come from a program that they work.
Yeah.
And they work at a college level. They don't work at a high school. They work at and the expectations are that they win and they win big. So the more kids you get from those programs that do things at a college level and expect and have crazy high expectation, you're better. And obviously, some of these clips are even from last year where AJ, this is the one that I was at this game. I'm probably in this clip. AJ smokes at about 68 yards right on the dime to Jack. So Jack's also a really good defense player. All the clips are offense. He's going to be an offensive guy, but he's a gigantic run and hit safety at 6'5". So again, a kid that's really, really versatile, played in one of the best programs, not only in the state of Kentucky, but in the country, and has had a ton of success and loves football and loves competing. And again, it's our third kid from CovCath in 2 years. And again, everybody talks about Ohio. We kind of count CovCath. It's on the other side of the river. I get it, but it's about as close as you can get to where we are, and we're really happy we're going to keep recruiting that program, obviously, for years to come.
Obviously, Eddie Evanston is the head coach there at CovCath, and Jack Coldiron, you talked about offense and defense, first team offense and defense by the Northern Kentucky Coaches Association, and just had an outstanding senior year. Looking forward to getting him on campus. Another tight end, and we go back to Carmel, Indiana, and Carmel High School for 6'6", 220-pound tight end Rhett Williams.
So we lose Becker, we gain 2. Now we got 3 with Jalen Walker, and Coach Hebert does an unbelievable job. Like I said, they either win the state or they lose in the finals. And Red, unfortunately, got hit with mono this year and missed a big chunk of play. Had a tremendous junior season. It was off to an unbelievable start his senior year. Again, we love tight ends. We use them all over the place. Long, athletic. Again, we're bringing in a 6'5" kid and a 6'6" kid that are 215, 220. They're going to be 250 or 260 at the drop of a hat. Obviously, we've had great success with Becker out of Carmel already. Rhett is a tough-minded kid, physical kid, already a very willing blocker, which most tight ends that we've taken through the years didn't block a soul in high school. Rhett's already willing to put his face on people, as you see on these clips, and run and add to physicality. Tons of confidence, again, just like a CovCath, just like a Colerain, a program that you can't get too many kids from this type of program, and you can't get too many kids from Miami from this type of school. There's tons of kids that aren't athletes from Carmel that are going to Miami every year. It's a perfect feeder, perfect fit for Miami, tremendous academics, tremendous athletics, and again, we love to use tight ends. We love to use multiple tight ends, using 2 or 3 at a time, and You know, we lose a great one this year, but we feel like we got 2 young ones coming in. Then obviously with the guys we got coming back, we feel like we always have a great stable of tight ends.
And again, he missed some time this year, but finished his senior season with 5 catches, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rhett Williams from Carmel, Indiana. Up next, we move to the wide receivers, and we begin down in Georgia, Jonesboro, Georgia, Mondays Mill High School, 6'2", 195-pound wide receiver Nick Manson.
Yeah, Nick's one of my favorites. Unbelievable. You're going to love him when you get to meet him. Unbelievable personnel, but has great length at 6'2", can really run, very versatile, can really go get the ball. Obviously, we like to stretch the ball vertically down the field. Nick can not only run and get behind you, but he can also go up and get those contested balls, which people are becoming pretty used to watching with our receiving core. So we think he's fast enough to stretch the field. We think he's got length, and here you see him making the contested catch look easy. He's got great body control. Got great hands, willing to go up and get the ball in crowds. Really good spatial awareness, really good at tracking the football down the field, which is a difficult trait to find, and plays really good competition. They play some great. He plays against Power 5 DBs almost every week and Power 5 receivers. And so the level of competition they play is fantastic. The speed of the game, obviously, down in Georgia is fantastic. So we're really excited about Nick. We had a good receiving core last year. When we lost James, our depth was an issue. We got 3 young freshmen coming in. We're looking for some of these young guys to come in and compete for playing time right off the bat.
Team captain at Mondays Mills High School and also a Clayton County Super 6 athlete as a senior, Nick Manson from Jonesboro, Georgia. Up next, a state that has been very good to Miami, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina is the home of 5'9", 160-pound wide receiver James May.
James May, you're always looking for the balance, length at receiver, speed at receiver, and James May's a kid who can go. He's 10-6 electric. All right, it's hard to find 10-6 electric. He's been used as a Wildcat quarterback. He's been used as a jet sweep guy. He's been used as a home run guy. He's been used as a rocket screen guy. He's got really good hands, really good body control. Here you see him as a Wildcat quarterback. He's very versatile, but blazing speed, and he's got a lot of toughness. And like a lot of the smaller guys, the Kenny Youngs, the Besters that we've taken, they think they're small and frail. They're not. They're tough, competitive, physical kids for their size. Obviously, anytime you get a 10-6 guy that's a good wideout, you think of returning, and you think of the Mo Thomases and what Mo's done for us already in his career, right. As a running back, as a jet guy, as a returner, and adding to the arsenal with Kenny and Zoe leaving, you're thinking Mo and Bester, you probably don't want to return them as much, even though they probably want to return. Maybe some of these young guys can, as Mo and Bester take over the running back duties, maybe some of these guys can take their heat off. So a big play guy, and it's hard to find really fast guys. Most of the guys that run this fast are going to the SEC that are down from the Carolinas and the Georgias area, but we got on James early and we got him to commit early, and there he's got really good hands too. So electric player, great track athlete, somebody we're thinking got a chance to impact us early in his career.
Again, from Charlotte, North Carolina, a team captain at Rocky River High School and as conference's player of the year is James May. And we'll round out this segment, another North Carolina athlete from Cornelius, North Carolina, 6'1", 170-pound Austin Robinson.
Yeah, and Austin plays at Huff High School. Tremendous program in Charlotte. They play the best of the best in Charlotte, the Mallard Creeks, the Vances of the world. They beat Mallard Creek in the first round playoffs, which overcame a loss to Mallard Creek, where Tony Reed and Akeem Allen are from. So Austin can really run. He's got incredible stride. He's jogging in the end zone there, and he's eating up 5 yards for 2 strides. 115 catches in high school, and a lot of high schools don't throw the ball that much. It's just that's a large number in 34 career touchdowns in high school. He can do all the things underneath, but he's been a big play guy, as you'll see. Like 34 touchdowns is a ridiculous, and a lot of them have been over the top of the defense or taking the ball away. So very smooth. You watch him, you think, I don't know how fast he is, and he just continues to run by Power 5 DBs throughout his senior season and his junior season. So we're looking for guys that can stretch the field vertically. It's something we felt like when we lost James this year, we didn't have that really. We used Kenny some even as a vertical stretch guy, but we think there's multiple kids in this class that can really stretch the defense.
You're seeing some speed and ability there in Austin Robinson, and those are 5 more of the athletes to sign their national letter of intent. You've been introduced to 10. There are 19 more to come as we continue here in a moment. And Coach, when you're looking at skill position, and again, we talked about it last year. We talk about it every year. You're looking at out of the 5 athletes athletes there, team captains, 3 of them, all conference players. The accolades seem to get better and better each year.
Yeah, and we're always looking for that versatility and taking longer kids. You got a couple 6'5", 6'6" tight ends. You got Nick Manson, who's a 6'2" plus longer, and then you got James May, who's a little shorter and quicker. So with our offense, what we like to do is use those big guys outside and use those fast guys inside. So I think Coach Woolfolk did a great job of getting the versatility we need out of the receiver, and I think Austin can do a little bit of everything for us. And then obviously Coach Welsh has done a tremendous job recruiting tight ends because we've had a stable of tight ends, but there's 2 more to add to that stable. Big, long kids that can do the blocking jobs, but also can be weapons, like Homer and Becker was, and even Q was this year, stretching the defense vertically at the tight end position, just like the NFL teams do. So we're excited about that group. We got 5 guys that can run and catch between those 2 tight ends, those 3 wideouts. And again, I think particularly the wideouts are going to have some opportunities to do some things, see what they can do right away, see if they're ready to play and help us out early in their career.
Very good. 10 of the 19 have been introduced, and we'll introduce more to you in just a bit. But up next, the Director of Athletics for Miami University, David Saylor, will join us live here on set. The National Signing Day 2019 special continuing after this.
Follow the Redhawks January 25th and 26th on the 3rd annual One Miami Weekend, hosted by President Greg and Dr. Renata Crawford, as a way to celebrate all of the wonderful faculty and staff and their families at Miami University. Faculty and staff members are encouraged to check their Miami email for more information about a great ticket offer for this weekend. Each game is packed full of great pregame and in-game entertainment for fans of all ages. Buy your tickets by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank. Our focus is you.
Miami basketball opens March with a triple threat of games. Men's basketball will host Buffalo March 2nd at 2 p.m. It's Swoops Kids Club Day and Carnival on the Concourse. All Swoops Kid Club members will receive a free ticket to this game through their membership. Then the men host their final regular season home game on Tuesday, March 5th at 7 p.m. against Kent State. It's fan appreciation and senior night. All fans will go home with at least one giveaway item. And Miami women's basketball will host Ohio for the annual Battle of the Bricks game on Wednesday, March 6th, with Vision Dance Company performing at halftime. Buy your tickets at 513-529-4295.
Welcome back to our National Signing Day 2019 special for Miami football. I'm Steve Baker, the voice of the Redhawks. Very happy to have you with us today. Always a fun day here at Miami University for National Signing Day. I'm joined by the Director of Athletics for Miami University, David Saylor. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
I'm glad to give Chuck a little break, but what about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm ready to go. This is one of my favorite days of the year when we talk about new athletes coming to Miami University. And, 29 athletes signing their letter of intent today. And obviously NLI days for other sports coming up, and it is a great time to talk about the athletes coming in, but let's talk about the coaches that get them here. And for Miami University, the coaching staff has done an outstanding job in getting the right athletes in the right fit here at Miami University.
Yeah, and I think the continuity in our staff is a huge plus for us. I've seen them with these kids. I've been to a lot of the events that we put on. And what I'm always really struck by is it just, every time these kids are around, it feels like family right away. And I think the coaches, the assistant coaches have created that culture. And this is one thing I know they do as a staff really well together. And it's enjoyable, and I think the parents pick up on it too. And so I just have a huge debt of gratitude for this coaching staff, the work they've put in, the time they've spent together, the time on the road. They're really focused, the ability to focus and find things that this program needs for Coach Martin. I think they brought so many good players to him this year that he had some tough choices to make down the stretch. So they're doing a great job, and I'm just real proud of the entire staff for all their efforts. And it sounds like George must have found a really good place to eat in Kentucky or something, because he was down there a bit finding some offensive linemen. But they all just do a fantastic job, and I can't thank them enough.
They do indeed. And before we talk about the class that is coming in here at Miami University, let's talk about the guys that are getting their degrees or about to get their degrees, and that's the senior class on this Miami football team. Gus Ragland among those, Chuck's first recruit. These guys have given a lot and have really done a great job of building the foundation, I think.
Yeah, I'm so proud of those kids. I made an offer at the banquet to take any one of them to lunch that wanted to go to lunch, and I've had about 6 of them take me up on that. And it's just been really enjoyable to spend time with them. And thank them for what they did here. You know, these kids came here, this facility wasn't here. Right. You know, these things weren't here. These were things that were part of a plan, but everyone has plans, but we actually put those plans into action, and those kids being a part of that growth of the program, you know, this 3-year stretch of MAC games and wins, 6-2, 4-4, 6-2 is the best since 03-05 stretch.
Right.
And being bowl eligible 2 out of 3 years it's the first time that's happened since 05 to 06, 07. So I just have so much thank and love for this senior class and what they went through. These young guys signing today, they don't have an idea that this wasn't like this,
right,
you know.
Right.
It's all part of a plan like we talked about, and I just have unbelievable faith in what this senior class has done, and they'll always be a part of what we've done here, and I'm always going to have a place to help them down the road.
And I know that they are appreciative of everything that has happened over their time here. And I do want to talk a little bit about that, because obviously, you know, you had a vision for what this area was going to look like around Yager Stadium. And I don't think you're there completely with your vision yet, but certainly over the course of this senior class's time at Miami, it has changed immensely, and it's changed the way that Chuck and his coaches recruit.
Yeah, and someone showed me an aerial. I was in the facilities office on campus, the physical facilities office, and there was an aerial picture from back when this building was a practice field,
right? And
the current tennis courts were a practice field, and just how much it's cleaned up this entire district down here is really amazing. And I think we're going to do some more work on that with soccer, which is going to improve the fencing around that side of the stadium. So just continuing to make this a priority and make this program a priority, so that when families and kids do come here, they see the commitment that we've made. And putting those plans into action wouldn't be possible without all the unbelievable donors. We're at $79.2 million.
I was going to ask you about that.
We are scratching the door of our $80 million campaign. I'm waiting on one gift to put us over the top, and I got 3 people vying for that position to be that last gift. And just the commitment that those alums have made to support this program in every way, shape, and form is just awesome. And not many people in this league, and particularly Group of 5 schools, can sit there and say they did an $80 million athletic campaign. And down here, it's been about $40 million worth of buildings to support our student athletes.
We'll look forward to that announcement sometime soon.
Me too.
Absolutely, on the Graduating Champions campaign. I know that you talk to Coach Martin and his staff all the time and have been in tune with the process and this class. Tell me your thoughts on the 29 gentlemen that signed their national letter today.
You know, I'm amazed at how many touches there are. I know coaches make a lot of effort to get out on the road and see these kids, but these kids came here to Miami multiple times, and every time they seemed to really enjoy their visits, and they stayed really true to the commitment that they made. We had a lot of kids that were committed early, and they stuck with that commitment, and I'm just really impressed by the depth of it and the quality of the depth, and especially in the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I was looking at the films this morning, and these guys are going to be wrecking the league for years on the defensive side. So really impressed with the speed on the offense as well, and some of the other offensive line size. So just everything has increased in terms of the number of touches with these kids, their size, their commitment to football, their attitudes. They're all great students. You know, someone in admissions was asking me the other day, what are we going to have to do with admissions? And I'm like, we really don't have a lot to do. These kids are all pretty squared up. So I feel really, really good about the work that Chuck and his staff have done, and real excited to see these kids get here.
You know, you talked about the number of touches that each of the coaches, talk to each of these players. In your time, certainly as an AD, that has changed so much. Technology has changed everything in the way that we recruit and the way that we talk to athletes and what we can and can't do.
Yeah, it's not, the days of coaches kind of coaching kids and telling them to run through a brick wall and the kids are just going to do it. Those days are over.
Right.
They need to know why they need to run through the wall, and that you're going to care for them if they do. And I think that's the more touches, the more time, and then I'm seeing with my 2 boys at home, and it's just the way things are, and I like it. It's a lot more focused on the student athlete, which is a benefit to Miami, and we're going to go out of our way to make sure these kids have everything they need.
Let's talk a little bit about this 2018 campaign on the football field, David. As 6-6 and a great finish to the season. And I was telling Chuck during one of our commercial breaks, the Army game may have been, at least for me, one of the best games I've ever been associated with. Obviously, the football game was great, but the atmosphere being at West Point, I think our athletes certainly got a great deal beyond the football game out of that. But give me your thoughts on the 2018 campaign.
I like that Army game as well, in the sense that it was an extremely competitive, clean game, tough all the way down to the wire. And I loved our kids' attitude after the game. Right. And I knew we were going to make a run and felt pretty comfortable about that. And what felt a little bit different about this year 6-6 over a couple years ago is that down the stretch we really beat some good teams, and particularly on the road with a MAC champ Northern Illinois. So there's no question that the finish to the season was very encouraging from the attitude and also seeing all the young guys contribute. You know, I feel like there's a lot of room for those guys to continue to step up next year, and they got some really good game experience.
Right.
You know, Miles Reed, Mike Brown, Rucker Furlow, all those guys. Doug Costin just continues to get better. There's just so many positives that this year's season brought out that I think are just going to manifest themselves in much greater detail next year.
And we can certainly talk about other positives in the fall. It was an incredible fall for Miami athletics.
Yeah, 6 of the teams that completed the seasons, 5 of them were postseason eligible.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty strong, you know, the Board of Trustees really looks at our, you know, we want to win every conference championship every year.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But they want us to be in the top third every year in every sport. And 5 of the 6 sports achieve that. Women's soccer is the only one that didn't, and that was a coaching change, and we knew there'd be some growth there. But you know, 4 MAC championships, 3 MAC coaches of the year, all the accolades that we've had. Paula Portugal is in a Final Four runner-up position to be the field hockey player of the year nationally, which we've never had here at Miami. So and 3 players of the year in the MAC this fall. So just a lot to hang our hat on and feel really good about in terms of kind of building on the Graduating Champions mission and where we're going.
And each of those teams building upon what they've done before. When you look at field hockey and what they've been able to do, Coach Condit's volleyball team 3 times the MAC champion, regular season champion, and the coaches just continue to see those athletes perform on the field.
And they're all doing, in a lot of ways, what I see Chuck doing, which is they're bringing in sustainable success. You know, they have a lot of talented upperclassmen, but there's also a lot of younger kids contributing. You look at our volleyball program. I mean, she reloaded on the fly this year and had some unbelievable freshmen that played significant minutes on a MAC championship team. And when do you see that very often, right? Field hockey had some really good young players contributing this year, and Chuck did with football. So, and I know Coach Torney set up next year in cross country with a lot of returning student athletes. So I think all of our programs are just getting so much deeper and so much more targeted in their recruiting and bringing in talented kids that contribute right away. And the nice thing is we're going to have them. I'm watching that Buffalo basketball game last night, and they got 5 seniors contributing, and I keep thinking about what Jack's team can look like 2 years from now.
Exactly.
You know, and those are exciting things.
And having a little depth to go along with those 5 seniors is also going to be a big bonus as well. Let's talk about what's going on right now. Obviously, we're putting football behind us until the spring after today, but men's and women's basketball, ice hockey, all in action in the coming week and a half, and all 3 teams performing at a high level. Women's basketball with a win last night at Jacksonville State. Men's basketball in action tomorrow night against South Carolina State. And hockey with a little bit of a break before the 30th. But when you take a look at the expectations of these teams, particularly women's basketball, outperforming, I think, some of those expectations.
Yeah, they were off to the best start ever in program history. I know that they lost right after finals, which is always a bit of a scary game for us.
Yeah.
But they bounced back last night really well. So at 8-2, Megan is just doing a fantastic job as a coach, and her staff. Just the focus and what she delivers her kids as far as what they need to understand to go out and accomplish. You know, they were picked 2nd in the league, and I certainly looks like, based on where they've done so far, that's going to be achievable. The men, I'm looking forward to them getting a couple wins here, heading into conference play here at home. That would, I think, be a really nice build off of the last couple weeks. They lost a tough one at Northern, but played really well. So I feel good about what Jack's doing, and they were picked 2nd as well, so we're certainly hopeful that they can get into that top 3rd range like we talked about with all of our programs. And switching over to the ice for a minute, Coach Blasey, I mean, 16th in the country ranked right now, pairwise 18th. We're 1 win out of 2nd place in our league. We talked about trying to make sure this year we jumped into the top 4 of our league, because traditionally, every year since the league's been in existence, the top 4 have gone to the NCAA tournament, and that's where we want to be. So he's right there on the cusp of making that happen. No doubt it's a meat grinder the rest of the way for hockey, but I think we're deeper, we're more physical, a little bit more talent. Goaltending's been more solid, so I'm real excited to see what hockey can do, especially finishing off that St. Cloud series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which was just great hockey.
Great hockey, great atmosphere, and really all of our sports, particularly hockey, that great atmosphere that weekend. You'd love to see that continue, especially with J-Term coming up. It's a great opportunity for all of the area fans to come out and see all 3 sports in action.
There is, and One Miami Day is coming up, which is always an awesome day. President Crawford buys tickets for the entire campus and all the branch campuses, and we already have over 4,000 5,000 tickets out for One Miami Day. That's a triple header day.
Right.
It's got women's basketball against Kent, men against BG, and hockey against Colorado College. And faculty and staff can just call the ticket office and ask how many tickets they can get, what they want, and they'll get them. So a lot of great days coming up over J-term, a lot of good Saturday games, a lot of exciting hockey as well. So it should be a fun month or two.
Great promotions as well, Kings Firecrackers, Pacers Power Dunk Team, and much, much more. David, appreciate, as always, taking the time to come by and join us. And it's been a great year for Miami Athletics, and we certainly want to continue that going into the spring. But wish you and your family a great happy holiday and happy new year.
I appreciate it, Bake. Thanks for everything you guys do. You do a great job.
Thank you so much. It's David Saylor, Director of Athletics, joining us here on our National Signing Day special for 2019. We'll continue. Head coach Chuck Martin rejoins me after this. Stay with us.
The Miami Redhawks welcome back the students from winter break and J-term as men's basketball takes on Toledo January 29th while hosting the Kings Firecrackers jump rope team at halftime. The Miami women's team will host Eastern Michigan for National Girls and Women in Sport Day on February 6th at 7 p.m. All young fans are invited to take part in a youth clinic with Miami's female student athletes on the West Concourse prior to the game. Buy your tickets by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Follow the Redhawks March 8th and 9th, the final regular season home weekend for Miami hockey and Miami women's basketball. The Brotherhood will host their final home series against Western Michigan. Friday night, it's Fan Appreciation Night, where fans will go home with at least one giveaway item, and Saturday will be Senior Night as we celebrate our senior class with a traditional pregame solo lap. And women's basketball will host Akron on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. for Senior Day and Fan Appreciation. All fans will go home with at least one giveaway item. Buy your tickets at 513-529-4295.
And welcome back into our National Signing Day special. I'm Steve Baker, and rejoining me is the head coach of the Miami Redhawks, Chuck Martin. And Coach, we were talking to David. I've got to ask you about the same question about the change in what is Yager Stadium and the complex here. And we talk about it with the new additions every year, but with everything in place, it has to help so much in getting the kids here, getting them, showing them what's here. And as you said at the opening segment, you can show them video all you want, but until they actually get here and see the facilities and what they have available to them, it's a game changer.
Yeah, no, it's and I could give you 1,000 stories, but just like one of the kids we're going to talk about later, we got a nose guard. We felt like, you lose 2 senior nose guards. We want to get an older kid to fill in. And we got what we think is a really good nose guard coming in from a junior college, and he was coming here last weekend. And if you asked him, he was not committing. He's not graduating until May. He was going to come check us out, but there was no chance he was signing with us on Wednesday. And the first thing we do is we bring him to the APC, and we walk in, and you could just see in his face, I'm like, we're
kind of like this, huh?
And just like, hey, by the end of the weekend, he's committed, he signed today. And was there other great things? Were the academics fantastic? Yeah. Was he blown out of the water? Did the coaching staff, did Coach EJ, and he loved our players. But the initial of walking into that building and saying, okay, I was going to wait for something else, but what am I waiting? Wait, what's going to be nicer than this? What's going to be better than this locker room? What's going to be nicer than this weight room? There's no one that has a nicer indoor. I'm going to play in the NFL someday, and the indoor is not going to be as nice. So that's just one of many, but that's a real life example of how we had a kid that his mental time frame was he was going to sign in February, and he told us that. And then he got here and realized what Miami could offer him as a student athlete, and then those facilities, which is so important. And we changed his time frame from about 6 weeks to about 12 hours.
Yeah, and again, the facilities do it, but we talk about it every year. It takes a village, and you talked about the coaches, the training staff, the medical staff, even the food service staff, all contribute to getting these guys signing their national letter.
Yeah, and they have to want the academic piece.
Right.
We lose more recruits that don't want the academic piece. Just, well, everybody wants it. No, not everybody wants it.
Right.
Trust me, not everybody wants the hard path. I tell recruits in my office, you come to the fork in the road, and you're at the fork in the road. And some of these kids have a lot of forks. There's a lot of paths because they got all these offers.
Right.
This isn't the easy path.
Right.
This isn't the easy path in football. This isn't the easy path academically. This isn't the easy path if you want to grow. We want to grow you to be quality young men, and you probably already are, but we want to enhance it as you go. So we always tell them, like, this isn't the easy road, but this is a road that can get you where you want to go. And sometimes life is worth those sacrifices, and we sell it all here, and we find kids that kind of want to bite off of. The other thing I want to mention is just the fall sports and what a great fall sports season. You know, as I was talking about my staff, like I feel the same way about like David's staff. Like, I know all these coaches. I'm a sports junkie, as you know. I love going to all these stupid events because I love sports, you know. And everybody talks about, oh, you're so supportive. I'm like, I actually just really love basketball, and I love competition. And I caught the volleyball, you know, and running the playoffs and the whole deal. And it's like, great coaches, but great people, like crazy great people, crazy great mentor for these young men and women in both sports, but also really competitive. And you look at, we probably had the best fall sports season as a whole that we've had here in a very, very long time. And I know when I got here, we weren't having a lot of success in a lot of sports, you know, and it was like, hey, David's going to undertake this thing, and we're going to start from the ground up. And there was a few sports. Synchro was kicking butt like they always do. That was our one given, and hockey was real good. But after that, it was kind of, and now you get into the winter sports, and you look at our winter sports teams, and I know our spring sports are going to be good too. And it's like, it's nice you can kind of feed off each other, what the other teams are doing, and the athletes. It used to be all the athletes used to walk around here and, you're no good, we're no good. Now it's like, you're doing good, we're going to try. I'm telling the field hockey girls, we're trying to catch up to you guys, you know. But athletes need that, and we need that, so we kind of feed off each other. And I heard you talking to Dave about that. It's kind of a fun place to be at Miami Athletics right now.
It really is, and all of the sports, again, continuing to build upon success and looking for great success, as a matter of fact. National Signing Day is why we are here. Let's introduce you to more of our student athletes signing their national letter of intent today, and we'll begin with some offensive skill and then move into the defensive backfield. And nice little bloodline here, 6 foot, 200-pound St. Louis native, Christian Brothers High School, great high school, quarterback Brett Gabbert.
Yeah, Brett's a really good football player. His numbers are ridiculous. 36 touchdowns as a junior, 42 touchdowns as a senior, led him to the 6A state title. Can make every throw. Like, he's got great arm strength, he's got great velocity, but he's also got great touch. And he's a sneaky, really, because he throws for all those yards, so you just think he's a pocket guy. As you just saw in his own replay, ran 50 yards for a touchdown. But just great feel for the game, really smart. Obviously, you talk about great bloodlines, his older brothers in the NFL. We saw him play way back. Coach Kaler does such a good job, and he goes to see all these quarterbacks, and he liked him early, and it's like he's only 6 foot. And then I watched the tape, and first thing I told Coach Kaler is, thank God he's only 6 foot, because that's going to give us a shot at this kid. And his brother visited here. The family already loved Miami, even though Blaine went on to bigger and better things. They had already visited here, and they loved Miami. So we had and then I'm like, if he's 6'4", we're not touching this kid. He's the perfect kid for Miami. Great student, great competitor. He's done nothing but win his whole life. Great baseball player from a great baseball program. But here you see his athleticism again, and can do all the jobs in your offense. And again, we've had a good little run recruiting quarterbacks the last couple of years, and I think he's another one that we're going to have a nice stable of quarterbacks and a lot of competition there, and a bunch of young guys competing for the starting job.
And again, that's Brett Gabbert. He was named the 2018 6A Missouri Offensive Player of the Year, first team All-State. And as a junior, threw for 2,862 yards and 36 scores. He finished his high school career at 36-4 as a starter. And you talked about him being here with his brother on a recruiting visit way back in the day. Actually, where we are recording, they're actually videoing our show. Our studio is located in the former football locker room. And if you check the Miami Redhawks Twitter account, you'll see a picture of Brett Gabbert here in the locker room.
A 6-year-old Brett Gabbert.
6-year-old Brett Gabbert.
It was awesome because it's an awesome picture of this little kid. I'm like, that's really Brett in our locker room. and then it's only been a couple years that we've been in the APC, but it seems like a millennium ago.
Exactly.
How bad our old facilities were. Like, first I'm like, God, that's a really cool picture. And God, that's really a garbage locker room. And they had all the chairs folded out for our team room. You know, you look at our team room now.
Yeah,
and we had fold-out chairs right next to the latrine.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Right next to the showers.
I'm like, God, we've come a long way in a short time. Brett's come a long way since those pictures, but so has Miami football.
Very good. Let's move on to Kansas City, Missouri, Lee Summit North High School for 5'11", 200-pound running back Ontario Russell.
Again, this is one of those kids, a great job late. Coach Conard, tracking quarterbacks or running backs. We're on all sorts of great running backs, and one kid's going to Vanderbilt, and one kid's, and just keep tracking kids, and big, strong. We wanted to have one bigger back. We lost Zoe. You got Davion. We're moving Mitchell Burton probably back to running back, but we need another bigger back, and this kid fits the bill, but we also like to throw the ball to our backs. He can run, he can catch. Incredible story. You're going to love this kid. He's been through a lot in his life and has done nothing but overcome, and crazy positive. But there you see his physicality. When we talk about toughness, mental, physical toughness, that's just not O&D line. That's just not your linebackers. That's your skill guys too. And he really, really brings toughness to the running back position, and great size and great strength.
First team All-District as a senior in Kansas City, Missouri. Again, North High School and Ontario Russell. And you always look for great athletes, and certainly our next signee fits that bill. We list him as an athlete, as a matter of fact, from Coleraine High School, 6'1", 185-pound, Sincere Jones from Cincinnati.
Yeah, Sincere is a great athlete. He's a tremendous basketball player. Just sent me 2 dunks from the game last week. He's always sending me clips. Played slot receiver for him. Here you can see going, obviously Coleraine playing great competition all the way up to the state championship game. Probably right now in his career more comfortable with the ball in his hand, but I think got a tremendous upside as a potential DB, a corner safety in our program. Great length, great size, great explosiveness, multi-sport athlete. He probably hasn't benefited from Colerane's great weight program as much because he's always bounced right from football to basketball, when a lot of the other kids all the other kids in his class immediately went into their weight room and started sweating it out. So if anybody's watched this kid play, and he's well known in this area, like, oh, you got a crazy great athlete. And he is an awesome kid. He is always smiling, always bright eyes, always positive, always willing to work. So whether it ends up being receiver, whether it ends up being a returner, whether it ends up being a DB, he's got a great future here. And like many great athletes in high school, he's a two-way performer. He never comes off the field at Coleraine. Obviously, we show the offensive clips. Obviously, everybody knows I'm a DB guy, so there'd be all DB clips if it was up to me. Right. But obviously, Izzy got to Shane, our video guy, and made sure that there was all offensive clips just to tick me off. But just all kidding aside, Sincere, tremendous athlete. He's got a chance to do and he may do multiple jobs. He may play some offense, play some defense. He may play offense and returner for us. So you see him catching the football here. Colerane's not really known for the forward passer, more like Army. Yep. But when they did throw the ball this year, Sincere was their main target and made a lot of big plays via the catch too. So tremendous kid, tremendous athlete from a tremendous program, and we did a great job getting him, and he's going to add a lot of energy to our football program just with his outlook on life. 954 yards, all-purpose yards, that is, and 9 touchdowns as a senior. As a junior, 836 all-purpose yards, 8 touchdowns. And by the way, as a senior, he also had 28 tackles and 2 interceptions for the Cardinals last year as well. Let's move on to the defensive backfield. And Indianapolis, Indiana is home for the Lawrence Central High School player, 6 foot, 185-pound defensive back Trayvon Booker. Yeah, and Lawrence Central, tremendous program, plays in a really the best league in the state of Indiana. Booker's really versatile. He's a football player. Here you see him, great job at corner, running back, and defending the pass and picking off the pass. But he'll run and hit you. He'll close space. He'll play ST. He'll return kicks. He'll cover kicks. He'll block kicks. He'll do, you looked at his junior highlight tape, we're watching senior clips, you look at his junior highlight, I'm like, how many different jobs does this kid do? And he plays with such electricity, he's so explosive, he's so passionate. Again, I don't know if he's a corner or safety, I really don't. I think he do both. I think he's a rare kid that can cover like a corner, but he'll run and hit and close space. And here you see him covering a punt, or is he returning the punt on this one?
He might be returning.
I think he might be returning, unless he's the guy that just hawked him down, which I think he is the guy that just might have hawked him down and caused a fumble.
There you go.
So he just, again, it was interesting watching his junior kids because every play is at a different position. Here you see him playing corner and breaking up a pass. So very competitive kid, very tough kid, loves contact. A lot of those outside corner types, they don't like the physical part of the game. He really enjoys the physical part of the game, but he also has those cover skills. Here you see another big hit from him. So really, we love this kid. This was a kid I targeted early. I was on our assistants. I was on Coach Harzer. I don't know. I always tell Booker, I'm probably, yelling at Coach Hauser once, what about Booker? Are we going to get Booker? We got to get Booker. He's a kid we got to have. So he was a major target for us, and we got him, and we've had him for a long time, and we're super excited about him, adding him to the back end of our defense. Here you'll see him now covering kickoffs, which you know I love all these kids that can do these different jobs. But more important, they're willing to do these jobs.
Right.
I'm this stud high school DB. I'm not going to go down and cover kickoffs. That's for some JV guy. But not him. The way he plays and the passion he plays with, he's awful fun to watch on tape.
Goes 100% all the time. And again, a team captain for Lawrence Central High School. Trayvon Booker, 6 foot, 185 pounds. From Indianapolis, Indiana, was also named to the 2018 Indy Star Super Team. Hadn't finished his career with 110 solo tackles. And finally in this segment, we head up to Michigan, Clinton Township, Michigan, and Chippewa Valley, a 14-0 state championship this past season. 5'11", 190-pound defensive back Javon Kimpson.
Yeah, and anybody knows Chip Valley has been one of the best programs in the state of Michigan for years and years and years. Coach Merchant, one of the top coaches in the state, and they won the state title again this year. Really talented, versatile, really good tailback. First time I watch him as a tailback and recruit him as a tailback. Then he plays safety, he plays corner, he returned kicks. They have a great team. Really unselfish kid. You know, if he was on most high schools in the state and anywhere, he'd have been a 1,500-yard rusher. And he split carries with other Division I players, willing to play any position on the field, do all the different jobs. So part of the reason they run a state title is just the type of program they run is the type of program you want to run where kids are unselfish. But way better high school player than the amount of touches. Like some weeks he'd have 3 touches because they blow the team out by halftime and they're spreading the ball around, and just always positive, always upbeat, always talking about the team. And again, we like him as a cover guy, corner, but he also has physicality. And he also has good offensive skills if we ever felt like we had a need over there. So, and I think he'll pitch in with the return game too. So crazy versatile athlete, which we always love. Usually those kids that can play both ways turn out to be pretty good college football players. Here you see his strength. Another small guy that just runs through. I think he ran through about 10 tackles in one play. And you're like, oh, he's small, he's not very tough. No, he's tough. And he's built like a rocket ship, and he plays like he's a rocket ship and does so many different jobs, as you can just see on these few clips right here. So crazy excited about Javon Kimpson and what he brings to the table as an athlete and as a person.
As a senior, recorded 40 tackles, 7.5 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles, and an interception as well. Named first team All-State by the Detroit News as well. That's Javon Kimpson from Clinton Township, Michigan. And that'll do it for this segment of athletes. That's 15 that we've named for you, 14 still to come here as we continue on our National Signing Day special. We'll get to more of them right on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Our National Signing Day special continues after this.
Join the Redhawks as they close out 2018 with 4 big events still in the month of December. Coach Jack Owens and the men's basketball team take on South Carolina State University on Thursday, December 20th, and Evansville on Sunday, December 30th. Head coach Megan Duffy and the women's basketball Redhawks take on Ohio Dominican on Saturday, December 29th at 2 p.m. And the final event of 2018 will be on Sunday, December 30th at 4 p.m. as the Brotherhood takes on Guelph in an exhibition game at 4 p.m. at Steve Coach Katie Arena. Get your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Miami University and the athletic department are celebrating the partnership that has been created with the Miami Tribe in Oklahoma and the Miami Student Center on campus during the Omaha Hockey Series. Special guests from the Tribe will be on hand throughout the weekend with special giveaways to all fans and PNC scarves for students on Friday. The Miami University Marching Band will perform on ice during the first intermission Friday night. And Miami men's basketball hosts Ohio for the Battle for the Bricks and to celebrate basketball alum Wayne Embry, who will be in attendance at the game to have his accomplishments celebrated. Buy your tickets today for this great weekend by calling 513-529-4295.
Welcome back into our National Signing Day special for this 2019 National Signing period. I'm Steve Baker, the voice of the Redhawks, and happy to have you with us here. Wish you and your family a happy holiday and happy new year as that season just around the corner here, and hopefully get a little time off. Recruiting-wise, once we get through here, you get a few days off here, Coach?
We leave here, we're going to go Talawanda JV women's basketball tonight, which I'm looking forward to. Go see my daughter play, which I love to do, and they're much improved with their new coaching staff. And then Max got a game over at Corsair Sports in Mason. Start the early Christmas tournament over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get a little time. I'll spend a little bit more time with the family, but
that's great.
We got some juniors coming here on, I think, like January 12th. We got a bunch
get right
of juniors,
back
so
at it.
we'll be hitting them on Twitter over Christmas, making sure they get their butt to check out Miami.
Absolutely. We're getting ready to talk about more defensive backs here, and we ended our last segment with a couple of DBs. Let's talk about the defensive secondary, because obviously that was a big part of this past season. Those young guys stepping up, and I know you're looking for more depth and skill back there.
Yeah, we weren't even a 2 deep at the end of the year. It was kind of crazy, and you lose 3 senior starters during the season, for the season, kids that you're counting on, and as some of them have been multi-year starters for you. So we got thin back there, and this was already a priority. But then, based on last year, now it's like, kids got to come in. The nice thing is we have a little more experience than we thought we were going to have coming back, because I thought I was going to have 4 senior starters, and by the end of the year, I didn't really have any senior starters. So we do have a decent amount of experience coming back, which there's always a good and bad everything. But it was a priority for us. And again, on ST2, we have not been as explosive on ST. Our returners have been great. Our kickers have been great. Our coverage units, I would say, have been good, but not where we would like them. And having more guys that run and hit, the more linebackers and DBs you have that are really good players, then the better your special teams are. And I would say, you watch a good defense, you're going to see good special teams. Mm-hmm. If you don't see a good defense, they're probably not a very good coverage team. So we wanted to improve not only the back-end coverage, the back-end run hit, but we also want to improve our ST, and I think there's some young kids that can definitely do that for us.
All right, let's get back to it. Defensive backs, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is home. Gateway Senior High School for 5'11", 175-pound Jeremiah Josephs.
Yeah, Jeremiah's, not the biggest, even not the fastest. He is one of the quickest. He is as good a football player as you're going to see. His tape, I told him and his parents last spring, I was trying not to like him, because I'm like, he's too small. He's not this. He's not. Then every time I watch the tape, I'm like, he's my favorite guy. Like, he makes more plays and makes it. And he plays strong. He runs and hits. He can cover. He can blitz. Every time they give him the ball in offense, he makes a big play. Here you see him coming off the edge and waxing a guy. He's got a little bit of Bart Barati in him, everyone that knows. And here you got him running the alley, which we'll use against Army in 2 years. He'll probably be our alley runner,
right?
Like Barati did this year. And it doesn't matter where you put him. And he's crazy confident. And he has a crazy knack for where the ball is, as he showed on this play. He took away the bubble screen. He jumped outside a block, then he jumped inside a block. Here he's going to return the ball for a ridiculous amount. And he makes people play at his pace. Like a good basketball player that kind of makes people play at his pace. He just saunters around the field and doesn't seem to be in a hurry, and no one can tackle him, and doesn't make a leg. But defensively, he has such a nose for the ball, which you can't teach. His angles to the football, he never wastes a step. He knows when to go, when to hesitate. Here you see him go cut a guy down. I love the kid. I think, and I'm not saying he can't help us in the secondary next year. I think he's a mid-semester kid. I'll be shocked if he's not running down on kickoff and punt for us at least next year. He has a nose, and he loves to play, and he's got a crazy amount of confidence. Here you see him again, just coming downhill, cutting people down, and just one of the funner tapes to watch that I've watched in a few years.
I know you talk about players going out and making the play. You see it, go make it.
Yes.
And this Jeremiah looks like one of those guys who can do that for you.
Yeah, 57 tackles, 6 picks, 4 block punts. The year before, 126 tackles, 7 picks. And we didn't even see his block kicks on there. He just is. He's a good play waiting to happen. He makes tons of plays and loves to play. And I don't even know where he's at. Corners, at nickels, at safety, I don't know. But he's going to find a way to play football for us.
Yeah, we love bloodlines in football. We follow players and their families, that sort of stuff. And when you take a look at our next athlete, certainly the Miami bloodline is strong. And the 6'1", 180-pound defensive back, Deland McCullough II.
Yeah, and Deland, really nice length. Really nice explosiveness. I see him as a safety in our program, a field or boundary safety. Obviously, great bloodlines with his dad's, I think, second all-time leading rusher in school history, and his granddad is one of the all-time greatest players ever play in Miami. Before Ben Roethlisberger came along, you'd probably say Sherman Smith had by far the best NFL career of any player in the history of Miami, as far as longevity and success in the NFL. And then, obviously, his dad and his granddad are fantastic coaches. His dad's a running back coach for Kansas City Chiefs. But Deland has the same bloodlines, and he's a run and hit guy. He has great length. He has good explosiveness, but he's got this frame that he's going to put on strength and speed and weight. Really, really smart. Obviously comes from a great family. We're not, as I tell him, we're recruiting him for him. We're not recruiting him because your granddad was great. We're not recruiting you because your dad was great. We're recruiting you because we think you can help us win MAC championships. And he's the quintessential Miami kid. He's going to be an all-around great kid. He's going to be an all-around great student. And he's going to be a great teammate and a great football player at Miami. And I think he was a very, very good high school football player. He got hurt his senior year, unfortunately, and missed most of his senior year. But I think his upside is crazy good. Yeah. I think he is just scratching the surface of what he's going to become, and I think we're going to see it become right before our eyes in college. So we're super excited Dylan's joining us.
Again, Dylan McCullough, Leawood, Kansas, Blue Valley North High School. Team advanced to the state title game this past season as well. Up next, we travel to Park Forest, Illinois, and Rich Central High School, a 6'1", 175-pound defensive back, Makai Miller.
Yeah. Long, athletic, run and hit. He's not even very big. He's got great length. He doesn't have great size yet. He's going to become much stronger and faster. Can play the ball, as you see there. Really good length, really good explosiveness. I told him on his official visit, I said, for how hard you hit, for how skinny you are, it's kind of amazing. Like when I'm thinking about 20 pounds of muscle, I can't imagine how hard you can hit kids because he has great length and great range. Really what you're looking for is safety. Compare him to kind of a young DeAndre Montgomery. Probably not as maybe as advanced as DeAndre as I have, but similar length, similar run and hit ability, similar nose for the football, and loves contact. As you see here, he's a heat-seeking missile and strikes with his chest. He's not a head ducker. He's not a shoulder ducker. Comes from my neighborhood, so he gets an extra plus. He's from South Suburbs. I went to Rich East. He played our bitter rival, but we'll take it. But here you see him blitzing as a linebacker in the red zone. Really, really huge upside. Really huge upside. There's raw materials are incredible. Great kid from a great family, and we're really excited he's joining the back end of our defense.
And again, a team captain at Rich Central High School as well. As a junior, 70 tackles and 4 interceptions. And as an all-conference, first-team all-conference player as a senior, recording 80 tackles and blocking 4 kicks as well for Rich Central. Up next, we travel to one of the best programs in the state of Ohio. Archbishop Hogan High School, Kent, Ohio. Seems like they're always in the mix. 6'1", 200-pound DB Matthew Salopek.
Yeah, four state titles in 4 years of high school.
Always there, right?
What an incredible program. Obviously one of the best in the state of Ohio, one of the best in the country. And here's an unbelievable one-hand interception. Matt's just a football player. You put him on the football field, put him at nose guard, he's going to make plays. Put him at left tackle, he's going to make plays. He loves football. He loves the competition. He loves everything about the team sport. He loves his teammates. I think he set a state record for interceptions. I don't know if that's in our deal or not. Finished career 25th all-time in the state of Ohio. 24 career interceptions. But he runs and hits like a linebacker, but he can play the ball like a safety. So really, really nice athlete, really crazy confident, awesome family, great student. Really can do anything you want him. At times I think he's going to end up being a linebacker. Then I watch him play safety and think, maybe he's going to be a safety. And then you see his ball skills. He can probably play offense too for you. So big, strong kid, highly, highly touted. He was one of our early commits that was really highly rated, where a lot of people were telling him, why don't you wait? You're going to get bigger and better. And he loved Miami. He loved the academics. He loved the staff. He loved the teammates. He loves how we run our program. And he committed us and stayed with us. And as you see, he makes a lot of plays, which, as we always talk about, that's what good players do. So Matt Salopek, 4-time state champion, pretty good deal to add to your program. And anytime it's like the Colerains and the Mollers and all these, you get a kid from Hope, and you're already ahead of the game.
Again, a team captain, as you said, 4 straight state championships for Archbishop Hoban High School and Matthew Salopek. And we'll round out this segment traveling to Columbus, Ohio. Walnut Ridge High School is home for the 6'2", 185-pound defensive back, Julius Wood.
I always tell the guys, if they play defense, either find me guys that run and hit or find me guys that cover. And here you see him covering, gets a nice interception. Great length, 6'2", much like Makai. Can't believe how hard he hits for how thin he is, and that's not a knock on him. But he's a run and hit guy. He's a fun guy to watch. If you like defense, if you like guys that fly around and have no regard for your body or anyone else's body, he's your guy. He's got a nose for the ball, and he likes to go wax people. And That one might have been a little late. I think we cut out the flag on it, but we'll take the extra aggression over a guy that's likes to play soft and not. So crazy passionate, really good student, comes from a great family, comes from a really good program that produces Division I players on Walnut Ridge on a yearly basis. Here he's showing off his offensive skills. The offensive guys aren't touching him. He's going to play defense for me. I don't care what they say. We're showing some offensive clips again. I'm not sure why, but he's an animal on the defense side of the ball. He loves to run and hit people. I think he's a safety. I know he could probably play linebacker, nickel too. I think he'll first on. He's another guy. I think we're going to see him running down on kickoff and punt, and hopefully hitting everybody before the whistle. That'll be the big thing, I think, I'll coach with him. So he's going to hit you. If he runs all the way crazy, he's got some karate in you. If he runs all the way there, you're going to get hit, and he may knock out some of our own. There may be some friendly fire because he just loves it. And I love watching him play, just like I was talking about Jeremiah Joseph. His highlight tape is just so fun to watch because it's just fantastic running and hitting collisions. Here you see him on kickoff. And the guys that are willing to be the star defense but still run down and be the guy in kickoff says a lot about how much they love the game. So Julius Wood.
Again, from Columbus, Ohio, named to the 2018 Ohio Prep Sports Writers Association second team and coached by Brian Maddox up there at Walnut Ridge High School. We'll continue. We have more athletes to tell you about, and we'll focus on the defensive line when we come back. The 2019 National Signing Day Special continues after this.
Miami opens up 2019 with an exciting first 2 weeks. Both men's and women's basketball will be in action at home. The men host Central Michigan on January 5th at 2 p.m. and Northern Illinois on January 8th at 7 p.m. The women's team will host Toledo on January 9th at 7 p.m. and the Buffalo Bulls come calling on January 12th at 2 p.m. The promotional highlight of this 2-week stretch will be on Saturday, January 5th, as Miami Athletics hosts Carnival on the Concourse during pregame with inflatables and games open to all ages, and the Pacers Power Pack Dunk Team at halftime on the same day. Buy your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Follow the Redhawks as Miami women's basketball hosts Northern Illinois on Wednesday, February 13th, with the Miami University Percussion Ensemble performing at halftime. Jack Owen's men's basketball team hosts Ball State the following Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we'll be recognizing all student athletes who have received a 3.0 or higher GPA over the past 2 semesters, as well as recognizing Miami faculty and staff with discounted tickets. Buy your tickets today at 513-529-4295.
And we are back on our 2019 National Signing Day Special. We've introduced you to several athletes that have signed their national letters of intent. 29 athletes signed their letters to attend Miami University. And you said 6 coming in the spring semester, Coach. And it helps you in the numbers certainly, but it speaks to the kind of athlete that you're also recruiting when you have, out of a class of 29 guys, 6 of them can come in and be ready to go when in the spring when spring football hits as well.
Yeah, it shows academically the type of students that graduate from high school in 3.5 years. And there's other kids that were capable of doing it, but they played another sport and they wanted, they're basketball guys, they're wrestlers, or they're baseball guys. So there's actually other kids that were capable of academically of graduating 3.5 years, but they just had other business they still want to tend to in high school, which is awesome. So fortunate. The type of kid they are, the type of family, the type of focus, how important sports is to them, how important their academics are to them. Anytime you get a mid-semester kid, you forget that he graduated in high school a whole semester ahead of everyone else, and that's not easy to do.
And the 6 that are coming in, by the way, we haven't introduced you to one of them yet, but the 5 that we have introduced you to, Jeremiah Josephs, Dylan McCullough, James May, Austin Robinson, and Rhett Williams, all will be in attendance at Miami University in the spring. And Luke Bolden, who we will introduce you to in just a bit, is that 6th. And let's talk about the big guys up front. We've talked about the defensive secondary, but getting pressure on the quarterback, this team was so much better about getting pressure. The run game defense was great, and you're bolstering what you have up front on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I think, again, we're just scratching the surface. And we're not nearly satisfied, even though our numbers were actually pretty good. And I think we're 3rd in the league in sacks, but they're tied for 2nd in the league. But I don't think anybody, including EJ and the guys up front, or the backers and secondary guys that blitz. And I think we're adding more run stoppers, but also adding some guys that can be twitchy enough to get pressure. So I think this is we needed, you know, we need to get bigger up front. We lose obviously Quinn Calcagno had a great career for us, and then you lose Trawick and Duffin inside at nose guard, so you lose 2/3 of your nose guards, and your other nose guards coming off a knee injury. So we felt like we had to get some inside kids to bolster up the inside, but also get some edge guys to rush the quarterback.
Let's talk about the signees on defensive line, and we'll begin in Nashville, Tennessee. East Nashville Magnet High School, 6'3", 275-pound Anthony Collier II.
And again, a lot of times with these bigger kids, just like we talked with the offense line, you're looking for the raw materials and you're looking for the motors. Here you got a good handshake, but here you got a young man that's 6'3", 275, and if you look at him, he is going to be crazy large individual, big and strong, and here he uses his hand knights and moves laterally. Really good lateral quickness for a guy his size. Not even scratching the surface strength-wise. He's underdeveloped in his upper body, and he weighs 275 pounds. And again, not underdeveloped for a high school kid, but underdeveloped for what he's going to look like. You let Luke get his paws on him for a year, he's not even going to look like the same guy. So really good motor. Really physical high school player, but big and can move at 275 pounds. It's scary what this kid can become for us, in particular with Coach Whitlow and how he's going to push him and mentor him and coach him. I think I told Anthony, you and Coach Whitlow are going to be a crazy good combination. See how you guys grow together.
Absolutely. And again, from Nashville, Tennessee, you're looking at Anthony Collier II. And everybody challenges me every now and then with the name of a town. I hope I get it right. Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, from Wauwatosa West High School, 6'2", 290-pound defensive lineman Austin Ertl.
Yeah, I would just be challenged with Ertl. I wouldn't even attempted the high school name or the town, but Ertl's toughen up. So Austin, we talk about toughness and we talk about violence and we talk about confidence, and that's who this kid is. And he is a violent football player. He's a crazy confident football. He came as a official visit, and they were down in the sub gym jacking around playing basketball, and thinks he's the point guard, I heard. And he's a state qualifying wrestler, and but really athletic for his size. Really crazy physical with his hands. Rugged, has some Mac Duffin demeanor to him, which you'd like everybody on the team to have a Mac Duffin demeanor, but has great size and great lateral quickness and great athleticism, and comes from an awesome hard-nosed family. And again, I really think he's going to compete and play at a really early age in our program, and be a dominant run stopper, and also be a guy that can give some inside pass rush too.
He was a WFCA All-State as an offensive lineman, named the conference's Offensive Lineman of the Year as a junior, and also as a junior, the WFCA, AP, and USA Today All-State Offensive Lineman as well. Over to Farrell, Pennsylvania. In Farrell High School we go, 6'3", 275-pound defensive lineman Kobe Hilton.
Again, first thing, 15-0, state champs. Coach Samuels produces Division I players and players of all levels every year. So again, the program, you're getting a kid from a state championship, a program that's run like a college football program. That's a starting point. Then you get these raw materials at, 6'3" plus last weekend, 270 plus pounds, and great quickness and great explosiveness. Kobe's raw. Kobe and EJ together, again, just like I talked with Anthony, what an incredible team to watch how this kid's going to grow into that giant frame and increase strengths. But he is explosive, quick, has been coached hard, has been in huge games his whole life. I think they won the dang state championship 41-14 or something. So crazy high expectations. And anytime you can get kids from programs and that have been coached up like he's been coached up, now you get him in our weight room and you just let that big frame grow. And again, he's athletic enough to play outside, but he's going to be big enough to play inside, and that's what you're always looking for.
Again, Kobe Hilton from Farrell, Pennsylvania, finished his career with 58 starts, 180 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 8 forced fumbles. We talk about two-sport athletes. He also lettered in basketball, volleyball, and track. So a multi-talented athlete as well in Kobe Hilton. We travel just down the road, down 27 to Cincinnati, Ohio. Up next, Mount Healthy High School is home to the 6'3", 235-pound Lonnie Phelps Jr.
And talk about rushing the quarterback. First commit in the class. There's always something about the first commit in your class. We talk about Gus Raga being the first commit ever at Miami when we got here. But watch this kid explode off the edge. I mean, it's fun to watch. And again, He's a little bit undersized, but he won't be. He's got a motor. He's played D-end his whole life. I got film of him as a little kid sacking the quarterback just like this. He's been doing this at every level. No one's blocked him yet in his life. And he runs things down from the behind. We get him in our weight program. We keep building up his size and strength. His speed is incredible. He has great ability to bend. He has really good hands. Loves to play the game. He's right down the road from Martin Healthy, and obviously they've got a tremendous football program down there. 18 tackles for loss and 10 sacks. Those are ridiculous numbers. And he had 4 block kicks and a D lineman with 100 tackles. It's almost unheard of. We've got a nice third down package where we get guys in. Will he be a first and second down player next year for us? I don't know if he'll be quite ready for that. Maybe time will tell, but I would not be surprised like we saw Cam Butler this year as a true freshman rushing the quarterback and creating havoc on third down, and it's a huge need for our football team. So we're super excited about Lonnie, another local kid. Just a great year for local football. Not just in the state of Ohio, but really the Dayton, Cincinnati, and Northern Kentucky here, and we tapped into a lot of great local talent.
Yeah, just this year, 100 tackles, 10 sacks. That was a school record at Mount Healthy. Also had 18 tackles for loss as a senior, in addition to 4 block kicks and Defensive Player of the Year honors for the district. And we'll finish out this segment from the Henry County High School in McDonough, Georgia. Jamal Winters, 6'2", 300-pound defensive lineman.
Yeah, via Highland Community College. So he's a junior college transfer. And me and David talked when we got here, and even President Hodge was talking about, like, we want to win fast. And I said, we're going to do it the right way. We're going to build with high school kids. And then when we have a really good team, we'll augment it with some transfer kids. And that's what we're doing here. We've got a need at nose guard. We want to bring an older kid. He's from McDonough, Georgia, but he's played 2 years at Highland Community College. Rugged, physical, uses his hand, more developed than these high school D linemen. We felt like with losing Trawick and losing Duff, we wanted an older kid right now. We didn't want to just go with the total youth movement. So we plucked one out, and we think we got a good one. He's a kid I was talking about that wasn't even dreaming of committing, but because of all the facilities and everything Miami offers, he's like, I don't know why I'd wait. This has everything I'm looking for, and I'm going to come help you win championships. He believes a lot in Coach EJ and his ability to develop a kid. So huge position of need when you lose 2 really good senior nose guards, and we did a good job, and Coach EJ did a good job identifying that, and we went out and got a more experienced nose guard, and I think that is something that we needed for the short-term success of our program.
And again, that's Jamal Winter, the 6'2", 300-pounder from McDonough, Georgia. Finished the season with 44 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks at Highland Community College. Well, we've introduced you to 25 student athletes. We have 4 more to get to a little bit later on. But up next, Coach Martin and I will chat about the recruiting process from beginning to end a little bit. And if you have any questions for Coach Martin, feel free to send those on Twitter at Miami Redhawks. So we will continue with more of our 2019 National Signing Day special after this. Stay with us.
Cheer on the Miami Redhawks on January 18th and 19th. It's the first 4-game weekend for the Redhawk teams in 2019. Fans will have the opportunity to take in 2 hockey games against the reigning NCAA champion Minnesota Duluth, a women's basketball game against Ball State, and a men's basketball game against Akron. Make a weekend of it and cheer on the Redhawks. Buy your tickets today by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Join Miami Women's Basketball on Saturday, February 23rd as they host Bowling Green at 2 p.m. for the annual Love, Honor, Care game. For the 6th straight year, Miami Women's Basketball will partner with Luna Cares, a local organization supporting women and their families who are battling cancer in the Talawanda School District. Through business donations, t-shirt sales, a game day silent auction, and other avenues, the team, as well as a group of supporters, will work to raise money to support Luna Cares as they pay for wigs, medical bills, living expenses, and other financial needs so that the women and their families can concentrate on beating their disease. All Oxford community members and Miami faculty and staff and their family members will be invited to attend the game through compliments of President Greg and Dr. Renata Crawford. More information to come after the start of the year on how to request your tickets to attend this great game and support this cause.
And we are back, and a reminder that Miami men's basketball will be in action tomorrow night at Millett Hall as they'll host South Carolina State, 7 o'clock tip. And we'll have it for you, not only on the Miami IMG Sports Network, but also on ESPN Plus as well. And then a little holiday break before the women's team gets in action on the 29th, men's team on the 30th, along with Miami hockey. Steve Baker here, talking with head coach Chuck Martin, our 2019 National Signing Day special. As always, happy to have you with us here. And Coach, 29 athletes, obviously we talked about it. It's a large class. And you began a couple of years ago trying to figure out what you were going to do as far as class size, what you were going to have, that sort of thing. Kind of take us through that process of, I know it's a lot of whiteboard work, I know it's a lot of work by your assistant coaches, and trying to say, okay, matching the needs with the numbers that you have in any given year.
Yeah, it's always you're planning for next year, but you're planning for 2 and 3 years out. And the problem with that is it always changes.
Right.
Because kids leave your program. Kids leave your program for a variety of reasons. It doesn't matter how good your program doesn't matter. Kids leave your program that like your program. Some get hurt. Some aren't playing enough, and they don't really want to leave, but they want to go someplace and play. So it's always ever changing, but you're trying to project out. You're trying to look, okay, next year we're losing so-and-so, but 2 years we're really going to have a hole here. We got these senior corners. You know, we took a lot of DBs because we're going to have a lot of senior DBs next year. So we're loaded up on some DBs this year, not necessarily for next year, but for 2 years from now, so you don't have to come in and play all these really, really young guys. So you're always trying to project, but it's always fluid. And then the difference here is we get on kids early. We're fortunate. We didn't lose one kid. You know, we didn't lose one kid. And again, we've lost a few to some really good places, but we haven't lost many like some other people. Our kids get the true picture of what it's like to be at Miami. And we do a really good job starting with our junior days. And even, you know, a lot of people on junior days get commits. We don't even ask for commits. We think that's ridiculous. Why would you come here for 5 hours on a Saturday afternoon or a Tuesday afternoon and think you have enough information to make a life-changing decision? Now, a lot of schools do that, and it can be effective, and that works for them. But then we have them back for a second visit, a third visit, you know, and we talk about like Caleb Schaefer, who was one of our biggest gets, and we beat a Big Ten school on him, and like, he was here 9 times. He was here 9 times before spring ball ended his junior year. I'm not telling you he's been here way more than that now. He's probably been here 15 times. But the amount of time we spend to get to know these kids and to really let them get to know what it's going to be like to go to school here. Because we don't hide behind our academics in Miami. We don't say, oh, it's good. You know, so and so saying it's going to be too. Oh no, it's easier. No, I don't know how them selling that it's hard here is good for them, but they're helping me. But no, it is hard here. And we take and these teachers are awesome. We're the #1 rated teacher school in the country for a reason, because they're really good at what they do. You don't get that ranking because they roll the ball out there and it's recess and we give out A's and B's. And the caliber of students that we know are attracted to Miami that aren't athletes are some of the best students in the country. So the competition is fierce. Then the football, all right? We play in a really good balanced conference, and we've been battling to get to where we can play and beat the top teams in the league. And now we're there, but it doesn't get easier. Just because we've gotten to the point where we can be 6-2 in the league and beat the Northern Illinois and beat the OUs and play with anyone on our schedule, it just means we're where we want to be. But now you got to fight and scratch and claw stage. So the competition on the field is great. Now we want guys that want to play in the NFL. And we sell it to like, hey, if you don't want to play in the NFL, don't come to Miami, you know. And then we want them to be great people. We've been very fortunate that we've had very little kids in our team. We have great kids in our program. We have kids that not only represent themselves and their family, but they represent Miami University. I get it everywhere. I got a letter from the AD at Army after the Army Day talking about what our kids were like after a bitter defeat and double overtime loss. And he watched them and listened to them. What they said to their cadets, what they said to their players, what they said to their coaches. And I'm talking about the coaches. That's our job. We're supposed to be that way. We're supposed to act a certain way. We don't always do it. We have our moments too where we get, but he's talking about what our kids and how they responded and what they were like. And he felt compelled enough to write a letter to me about our football team and how competitive the game was. So, and when I say it's not just them, they represent our whole university very well. So we make sure the recruits understand that. That's how we get those kids. We don't luck into getting all these really competitive, good students that are great people. We tell them, like, that's the expectation if you're going to come play football at Miami. That's the expectation if you go to school at Miami. That's the expectation if you're going to be walking around Oxford. You're not going to be the hotshot football player that wants everything catered to you. You're not going to be the hotshot football player that wants everybody to kiss up to you and you can act a certain way and everybody. We don't have a separate set of rules. We're trying to be the best behaved people on campus. We don't always say, trust me.
Right.
We have our issues like everybody
understand.
else. But that's, and because we recruit that way and we start so early and we spend so much time with these kids, that's why we've not only turned our football program in a very short time, but they're also killing in the classroom, and they're getting degrees from one of the finest universities in the country. And people, and it's not just the AD from Army bragging about who our kids are. I hear it all the time, and I ran into your football players, and I was so surprised at how wonderful people they were. I'm like, well, we work very hard to get kids to fit into the love and honor mode. And again, it starts off, we got a junior day the first weekend back. We got, and we're going to probably have 600, 700 juniors on our campus in January. And they'll hear about that, and then every time they hear it, they hear about Miami and what and I say, Miami's not changing for you, trust me. And Miami's not changing for me, all right? And who I am as a person, I've coached a long time, and I'm not changing. Our program's hard, and we push you and challenge you very difficult. So don't think it's going to be easy to come here. If you're looking for easy, run for cover, because you're going to hate this place. Now, if you're looking for a challenge and you're looking to roll your sleeves up and try to become the best you can be, guess what? Miami University is a great place, and Miami football is a great place to get that done.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, this is our second year that we've been here in December talking about a recruiting class.
Love it.
I was going to ask you, I mean, has it
my wife
changed what you do?
Last thing my wife said before I came on there, man, I love this early signing day. Because not that I'm still not going to work over Christmas, but we're right in the dead middle of it in Christmas.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm getting phone calls left and right. He's got this shit, it's like,
yeah.
I'm going to go watch my daughter play tonight and actually enjoy watching my daughter play, and for your family, but also for the kids, it's December 19th, and they know where they don't, the anxiety of any of the shenanigans that go down recruiting. I just got a text on one of the segments that, someone processed the kids. That means they dropped a kid or something. And same thing, kids are jumping off ships, schools are jumping off ships. It gives everybody a night. Hey, I've been, especially the 24 kids that have been committed to me since June. Let's get this thing done. We should make the signing date. Anybody listening, which probably no one is, but let's make it August 1st or September 1st, and we can really have something good going. Then those 24 kids will already be here, and we're just focusing on these last few. So, and then for us too, we do have a couple in our pocket, and I don't know if we'll sign anybody at the next signing date or we'll wait through the spring. But also, you can really focus on that, and then you can really start focusing on these juniors. We're in spring recruiting now. I mean, we're not, but we are. We're December or January 11th. We're on the road. And we're spring recruiting, and before we used to have to babysit these kids for 3 more weeks. For fear that somebody else is going to come steal our kids. It was such a bad process. So I don't know if anybody else loves it, but me and my wife love it for whatever that's worth.
Well, it does change the way you recruit, because at least it does give you 3 weeks, and you don't have to worry about, again, babysitting. And I think that's the biggest difference in this is, it gives the kids a number one early time to settle it down, get it done, and also it just makes it easier in the process to get ready for the spring.
And then you think about these seniors there's thousands of them that signed today. They're going to go back to school. They're finishing up this semester probably this week, and then they're going back to school in January, and not everybody's trying to pull them out of class anymore. They're back to being a high school wrestler, a high school basketball player, a high school student. They can focus on their history class. They can focus on their English class. Where before, we're pulling them out of class, and they're getting pulled out of class, and we're running into their home. And sometimes my dad why do you keep coming in my home every week? We're not going anywhere. We love Miami. You know what I mean? But it's we have to, because we can. We're not going to let somebody outflank us. It's so much better for those kids, and then the high school coaches. Yeah, we're going to start on their juniors, but we're going to start on their juniors anyways. But their seniors are done. You know how nice it is for those high school coaches at Christmas time to have their kids have homes?
Exactly.
They've signed. They know where they're going, whether it's Division 1, Division 2. They got kids that they know, and they don't have to worry. Hey, those kids are done. I can start now focus on my off season and my family and my juniors. So it's so much better. I think we need to move it up further, but hopefully we'll get to that point someday.
One final question about recruiting in the process, and it's been around for several years now. The fifth-year transfer rule, obviously it's been a help to mid-majors in getting some major Power 5 players in their 5th year. Has it filtered down to where you're seeing some of those mid-major players leave their 5th year?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's certainly a lot of good to it, certainly a lot of bad to it. I think it's gone a little bit to where kids are planning on doing it. There's too many kids, particularly the quarterbacks, are trying to get done in 3 years.
Okay.
And then they got 2 years to go play. So they're already going into their school, not that I'm going to be here forever, but I'm going to be here for 3 years. And if I'm not playing, I'm going to have my degree, which is smart.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move on. And I'm not judging whether that's a good plan or not, but that is the plan of a lot of kids. Like I said, people used to go to to a certain school, like say the Story program, say Alabama, Bear Bryant, and they were going to play for Bear Bryant until their eligibility was up.
Right.
They weren't going to try to hurry up and graduate and then try to move on, and I totally get both sides of it. So it is a little bit different animal. I know we talk about in the spring. I don't really know. I think there's a lot of good to it, and there's not all good to it. I don't know where the balance is there, but kids are kind of figuring out that rule. A lot of kids are trying to get graduated earlier and earlier so they can have more of a life at the next school if need be.
Right. Okay. We will continue. We have 4 more athletes to tell you about, and also further up on the show, we'll look ahead to what 2019 will look like for Miami football. It's all straight ahead. Our National Signing Day special continues from Oxford, Ohio after this.
Follow the Redhawks January 25th and 26th on the 3rd annual One Miami Weekend, hosted by President Greg and Dr. Renata Crawford, as a way to celebrate all of the wonderful faculty and staff and their families at Miami University. Faculty and staff members are encouraged to check their Miami email for more information about a great ticket offer for this weekend. Each game is packed full of great pregame and in-game entertainment for fans of all ages. Buy your tickets by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank. Our focus is you.
Miami basketball opens March with a triple threat of games. Men's basketball will host Buffalo March 2nd at 2 p.m. It's Swoops Kids Club Day and Carnival on the Concourse. All Swoops Kid Club members will receive a free ticket to this game through their membership. Then the men host their final regular season home game on Tuesday, March 5th at 7 p.m. against Kent State. It's fan appreciation and senior night. All fans will go home with at least one giveaway item. And Miami women's basketball will host Ohio for the annual Battle of the Bricks game on Wednesday, March 6th, with Vision Dance Company performing at halftime. Buy your tickets at 513-529-4295.
And welcome back. Our final player segment, or signee segment, in our National Signing Day special here. We've introduced you to 25 of the 29 student athletes that have signed their national letter of intent to become Miami football players coming up in the fall, and in some cases, 6 cases, in the spring here at Miami University. Steve Baker here, rejoined by head coach Chuck Martin. And Coach, we have the linebackers to take a look at here in our final segment, and 4 very fine linebackers, as a matter of fact, a couple from the same program. And we begin at Colerain High School, Cincinnati, Ohio, 6'2", 228-pound Luke Bolden.
Yeah, and when we talked at the beginning of the show about toughness, this class was going to be all about toughness, and all you have to do is watch a couple clips of Luke Bolden and think if you're trying to add toughness to your team, if you're trying to add high contact, mental and physical toughness, this is a good place to start. And his dad, Tommy, is the head coach at Colerain, so it's kind of bittersweet for me because I was a young coach at Wittenberg University when Tommy Bolden was just finishing up playing at Wittenberg University. Now I'm recruiting his son, and not even his oldest son, so it's showing how that we're getting old. But Luke's a playmaker, 224 tackles in his career. That's an absurd number for a high school player. They only play 12-minute quarters, and most of the tackles are like that. They're him thumping some poor, helpless soul on the other team. And then he also playmaker. He had 3 picks this year. He's forced 8 fumbles. He's had 7 sacks. He's all over the field, and he's a big physical kid. He's already 6'2", 230-plus pounds. Pretty much whatever he hits goes the other direction in a heartbeat. His dad used him as a short yardage fullback and was thumping kids there, and he might have some dual threat for us in some of those short yardage situations, because I've seen him in high school be a really good lead hat and thump people. But he's a north and south player. He's a big physical. He's an old school inside backer. He's definitely a Mike backer. But he's got really good feel in the pass game. Here he's smoking out a screen. So, again, 4th player from Colerain, or 3rd of the 4 players from Colerain. Crazy great group of kids, and used to winning and used to competing at a crazy high level.
Yeah, Luke, a team captain for the Cardinals. 14-1 was their record this season. Next, we head to New Palestine, Indiana. Cathedral High School is home for the 6'3", 235-pound linebacker, Richard Haggerty.
Yeah, same thing with Richie. He was like all-state D lineman as a junior, and then they play him up. Crazy versatility, can really run in close space, loves contact, loves to play the game, competes his tail off. Here he's picking off a screen pass and running in the end zone. I think he has really good value as a linebacker. I don't know on 3rd down how he's not going to be a quarterback rusher for us. I'm not saying he can't drop in coverage. There's just tremendous high value rushing the quarterback with his kids. So I think he could be like some of the other backers that we've, Junior we put down, and Cam Turner we put down, and Miles Reed before he became a starter was kind of a third down rush guy. So I think, again, he can add to that element too to us because he's a tremendous pass rusher, but he's a big physical and he can run. He's already 235 pounds and he's 6'3". Like you're talking about the old linemen, how big they are now. We were playing with 5'11" linebackers when we got here that weighed 205 pounds, and now this kid's coming to high school, he's 6'3", 235. He was all-state lineman as a junior. He's all everything linebacker as a senior. He's a great pass rusher. And there you see the physical violence. And again, Cathedral, another program, and Bill Peoples, another coach that if you get kids from it's run just like a college. And you're going to be better off. So great addition to our football program.
Named to the Indy Star Super Team, was also a member of the Lemming Watch List for the High School Butkus Award. As Coach said, 58 tackles, 16 of those for loss this season for Richard Haggerty. We go back down to Cincinnati and back down to Coleraine High School, our fourth Cardinal signing their letter of intent today, and really talented 6 foot, 220-pound Ivan Pace Jr.
Yeah, and 1,400 yards rushing and 22 touchdowns, and he's the Division I Defensive Player of the Year in the state. Not too many times did the Division I Defensive Player of the Year in the state of Ohio rush for 1,400 yards and 22 touchdowns. Way too physical for any of his high school opponents. That's you see it on tape. They can't tackle him. They don't want to tackle him. After about the first quarter of him running north and south, I'm glad he's not going to Army, and we'd have to play against him in that offense, which is basically Colerain's offense. And physical. Here you see him on kickoff, absolutely smashing a kid. Every snap on defense, kids didn't want to run the ball for the first quarter. He's a great blitzer. He's a great pass rusher. He's crazy twitchy, crazy violent. Comes from a crazy athletic family. His younger brother plays at Coleraine. He's got a younger sister. He's got another younger brother, and just all around great football player. Coach Bolden, 14 years at Coleraine. Coach Bolden played at Coleraine, one of the most storied programs in the country, and said over and over, the best all-around football player he's coached in 14 years there. He's like, I'm not saying he's the best, but I've never had a kid rush for 1,400 yards and be the Division I Defensive Player of the Year in the state. That's pretty crazy versatile, and he can run and strike. So, again, violent, tough, great wrestler, loves to compete. We got ourselves a good one. Again, when I talked earlier about doing a better job later in the process, here's a kid that we really, Coach Nowinski stayed with. He didn't come on any really visits. He came to junior day, but came very sparingly, but we got him to official visit late and got him to commit late, and we really were stronger at the back end of the class than we've ever been here.
Ivan Pace Jr., 6 foot, 220-pounder from Coleraine High School. Again, he was the Division I Defensive Player of the Year, and his senior season, 84 tackles, 6.5 tackles or sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. That's just on the defensive side of the football. Really, really talented young man. Another talented young man from just up the road in Centerville, Ohio, Centerville High School, 6'2", 220-pound Max Wynn.
Yeah, Max, another one. We've loved Max. We've recruited him a long time. He ends up committing to another school in our league. Coach Nowinski stays with him, doing a great job late recruiting, and the situation arises where Max and his family decides that maybe they didn't make the right decision. And at that point, Coach Nowinski's there, and we get him over, and we get a kid from, again, Centerville, again, obviously top program in Dayton, but one of the top programs in the state of Ohio for years and years and years. So anytime you get a kid from Coach Ulrich's program, you got a kid that's been competing at a high level and playing great competition. Again, a run and hit guy. We got some great late gets, and tribute to our staff and staying with kids and staying with kids and staying with kids and making sure that they know, hey, you may not want to be in our program right now, but we still want you in our program. So if you ever change your mind and you have to do that and you can't, a lot of kids commit other places and coaches get mad at them and they don't like them and just that's not how we've done our business. And you got a very physical run and hit with great instincts, great family, and from a great program and right in our backyard. So it was kind of crushing me when we didn't get him the first time around. We got this kid that's, as I was saying, you're perfect for me. Obviously, we're not perfect for you yet, but he's always been perfect for us and from Centerville. But we stuck with it, and in the end, I think it's going to work out great for Max and work out great for Miami football. And again, tremendous late get for us.
A team captain at Centerville High School and had 121 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 4.5 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles this past year, and as a junior helped lead the Elks to a conference championship that same season. So there you have 29 student athletes signing their national letters of intent to be at Miami University either in the spring or in the fall. And Coach, we talked about your overall impressions at the top of the show, but having introduced them all and pretty much by position groups, seems like you got all the bases covered. And again, with the late gets, sounds like just an incredible class.
Yeah, all these kids are physical.
Yeah,
all these kids love to play. All these kids are playmakers. Again, highest rated class we've ever had for what that's worth. Somebody spends a lot of times rating the class, so clearly the highest rated when you talk to stars and average stars and all that. Really good class from a standpoint of great programs, and I've coached a lot of great players from not as successful programs. So that's we don't only recruit kids from great programs. I just say that's a bonus when you got a great kid because you know the level he's been coached at. And you know the level of compete that's already within that program. And he wouldn't have become the captain or the great player in that program if he didn't compete at a crazy high level. And we got so many kids from these crazy, great, successful programs. Again, great year in the Midwest for us and a great logo. And I was like, Southeast Ohio. I'm like, we recruit Southeast Ohio we recruit everywhere. We're trying to find the best dang football players. At the end of the day, we're trying to win football games. But it was just a great year, and we tapped in. Obviously, you get 4 kids from Coleraine, you get another kid from Covecraft, you get a kid from Mount Healthy, you get a kid from Centerville Rate. I mean, that's a fourth of our class. You can throw a lasso around. I know it makes it nice for me because I got to go to all these places and see these kids. But again, it's in great programs. And we did, we got Carolina, we got Georgia, and we got some kids from a little bit further away. Yeah, a couple kids out of Missouri. And so, for us, it's just, you got to love the process. You got to love recruiting. Our guys love recruiting. Our guys love the interactions with these families, and that's why so many of the families stick with us. And there's, we're getting calls from high school coaches saying, hey, this kid is senior, he's kind of blowing up, but he doesn't want to talk to anyone.
Right.
And we're getting more and more kids that if they would have waited a little bit, maybe would end up, but they're so happy with their decision. The family is so happy with who our staff is as people. They're so happy with who Miami is as a school. They're so happy with who Oxford is as a safe little community. Like this is, and they're all surprised when they get here, we're driving, it's the middle of nowhere and we're thinking, what the heck? And then we get to Oxford and like, wow, what a great place. Beautiful campus. And wow, I met with this teacher and wow, what an incredible, and I met with your strength coach. And I met, getting them here, but our guys work really hard and grind through the process, and we are pretty good at being immune to the ebb and flow. Just like during the season, it's no different than when you start off 0-3 and you're not super excited about that. You just keep going and you keep improving, you keep getting better, and that's what we've done a good job recruiting. And then I kind of challenge the staff. I said, I think we've been great at the early end. I think we've had as many good commitments in June as anyone in our league, and that's why we're catching up to teams' league. We're not necessarily passing, we're just trying to get to be as good as the best ones, But then we got to get better late. I think there's teams sticking with kids, and we did just a really good job of sticking with kids and getting some really good late gets.
One final piece of the recruiting puzzle that we haven't talked much about. We talked about the seniors and how just how they have developed into great men, and looking forward to seeing what they accomplish in the future. But the players, obviously, if you get a junior and he comes 8-9 times and visits with with the team and the players, and even a late get that comes on campus maybe once or twice, it's important that those guys reflect your program.
Yeah, the relationship they have with the kids in their class, that's also we get a lot of light kids. I say you're from different places, you got different colored skin, you got different economic backgrounds, but you're all the same kid from the same family.
Right.
You're all competitive kids that want to take the hard path life. But then also it's a relationship with current players.
Right.
And they're such a big part of the recruiting process, and it's not just a relationship with the kid. That's important. The kid comes on our campus, these are going to be the guys he's in the locker room with. Mm-hmm. And I challenge everywhere because I know the kids I have in my locker room. Right? So I always make a point when I'm talking to the parents, like, you need to go meet their players, and not one of them, because everybody's got one good player. Right. You need to have them go in the locker room and find out what that locker room's like, because there's a lot of different locker rooms out there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different things going on in locker rooms. And if you hang out with enough players, you'll get a vibe for really what that program is all about. And we know we're going to be fine in that area. But the other one is the parents meet our players.
Right.
And the parents invariably say, like, we want our kid to be around those kids. All right, because of the quality of kid, from the quality of family that we recruit, it sells itself. So we always get our kids, and that's why we have them come back multiple times and really get to know. And they always end up talking about the Josh Allen, or what. And that's just one great example. But the kid that really like, wow, if that kid is one of your best players because he's got this major and he's doing great academically, and wow, what especially nice and polite and went above and beyond, like that's who I want my kid around. That's and I always say, and as parents from the time they're in kindergarten, our kid leaves our house, we want to know where he is, who's he with, what's that parent like,
right.
Who's going to be at the party, who's not going to be, you know. And we guard against that our whole lives. And then I always say, when it comes to recruiting, you don't spend enough time figuring out who your kid's going to hang out with. You meet the coach, and yeah, we all put on our best hat, and we tell you how great your kid is, and we kiss up to you, and we do all the blah, blah, blah,
right.
stereotypical recruiting stuff. But you need to figure out who's in that locker room.
Right.
And when you do, because you've been doing that your whole life, you've never let your kid just go off, hang out with whoever. Now you're going to let them do it because you're excited about this school or you gave your kid a scholarship. And the parents and the kids that have had so much success here on the field and off the field, that's important that they find the right fit at Miami because there's plenty of good players out there.
Absolutely. The 2019 National Signing Class has been announced, and with that, we'll put the year of 2018 behind us and look forward to what's next for Miami football in 2019. And head coach Chuck Martin will address that when we come back in our final segment of the National Signing Day 2019 special. Stay with us.
The Miami Redhawks welcome back the students from winter break and J-term as men's basketball takes on Toledo January 29th while hosting the Kings Firecrackers jump rope team at halftime. The Miami women's team will host Eastern Michigan for National Girls and Women in Sport Day on February 6th at 7 p.m. All young fans are invited to take part in a youth clinic with Miami's female student athletes on the West Concourse prior to the game. Buy your tickets by calling 513-529-4295.
This is the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special, presented by Miami Savings Bank. Miami Savings Bank, our focus is you.
Follow the Redhawks March 8th and 9th, the final regular season home weekend for Miami hockey and Miami women's basketball. The Brotherhood will host their final home series against Western Michigan. Friday night, it's Fan Appreciation Night, where fans will go home with at least one giveaway item, and Saturday will be Senior Night, as we celebrate our senior class with a traditional pregame solo lap. And women's basketball will host Akron on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. for Senior Day and Fan Appreciation. All fans will go home with at least one giveaway item. Buy your tickets at 513-529-4295.
The 2019 National Signing Day special continuing here from Oxford, Ohio. And again, we've introduced you to all 29 signees for today for the Miami Redhawks. And we encourage you to go to MiamiRedhawks.com and see the latest release. And also make sure you follow at Miami Redhawks on Twitter to get all of the latest tweets and information on signing day there as well. Coming up right here on the same stream at 1:30 this afternoon, head coach Chuck Martin will address the media, and you'll be able to watch that live right here on this same stream. We'll keep it active all the way up through the press conference. And Coach, let's talk about what's next for Miami football. Obviously, just a couple of weeks ago, we were waiting around to see if we got a bowl game. Now we have the National Signing Day, and now you really, I think, begin to address next season, recruiting-wise and also team-wise when they come back in January.
Yeah, and again, every year is different, and have taken strides to put our program where we want it. Like, to me, this was the first year. Like, I knew, like, I didn't know, but I thought I knew. Like, I knew even after Minnesota. Like, I knew I had a good football team. I didn't. The other years, like 2 years ago, we went on a nice run and won 6-2 in the league.
Right.
And heck, we were 0-6. I didn't know we had a good football team. Then even last year, we still were growing in so many areas. And then this year's like, I trust these kids. They're doing everything right. They've done everything right for 9 months. Mm-hmm. And kids that do everything right for 9 months, they get rewarded. And I know now we have a good MAC football team, and we're trying to still grow, and we got to get some more out of league wins. And obviously, we have a crazy challenge. I mean, even Alabama beat a 1AA team this year.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody.
Everybody.
And we didn't. You know, everybody's like, we get 7 wins. Well, we play 1AA. We've been at 7 wins. But the other side, like I said, this program. The other side of it is we were ready for conference play, you know, and that's the ultimate goal is to win the MAC championship. We've been darn close. We were, you know, co-champs of the East 2 years ago at 6-2. We're 6-2 again this year, but we have a really strong infrastructure now, and like it's going to be so much easier to transition into 19 because our kids can't wait to get back, and our kids can't wait to start working. And our kids, it's not like we're satisfied at 6-2. We're not satisfied because we know there's areas we need to keep improving in. And then you look at our schedule next year with Iowa and Ohio State and Cincinnati. It's going to be so. But our kids now are more confident, like we handled it better this year than we had in previous years because they know they're a good MAC team. When everyone else gets in a tizzy, maybe with the starters and record-wise, like we'll be able to handle that even though we got some challenging games right off front. You know, you got 2 of the first couple weeks are Big Ten teams, and one of them's one of the best teams in the country. So, but again, it makes you stronger. The adversity, it's not always fun. Yeah, I'm still talking about our schedule, and I don't know that we have our schedule exactly figured out what's in the best interest of Miami University or what's in the best interest of Miami football, but some of the schedules are built so far out in advance. You know, you have, like some of these contracts were done before 2010s, you know, out. So some of it is what it is. But we have strong infrastructure. We showed that we had built enough depth to withstand a crazy amount of injuries. Our kids are ready to springboard into good offseason. Our recruiting is better than ever, but our recruiting should continue to grow. That's the way it should be. This should be the best class we've ever had.
Right.
You know, and the older kids expect it. The older kids say, like, these kids coming in are, you know, and so everything's in place to continue to have, and that was a goal 5 years ago, like, build a team, build a program back to where we can fight for MAC championships every year. In the last 3 years, I know 2 years ago we didn't have as good a year, but we were still, you know, we were still in the hunt to win a MAC championship. We didn't play as good at times, but we had a co-champs. We were 6-2. We had the second best. So we're now risen to the top end of our league, and let's stay there and let's win our fair. You're not going to win every year, but let's fight and compete for MAC championships every August and keep building, keep getting stronger, and then keep taking. Hey, as we have these tougher non-conference opponents, let's get closer and closer till we get some of those huge victories non-league, you know. And like I said, we feel very good about where we're at, but we still feel like we're scratching the surface of what we can become, but we've positioned ourselves to be really strong. And like I said, we proved it so well this year that when you're not winning early and then you lose all these good players, things shouldn't go as well as they did, but the infrastructure and the depth that we keep recruiting, we want to keep building on that. So it's a great place, and we know the school so well now. And as the other sports get good, it helps us. Like, hey, I'm just telling you, we're feeding off each other right now. It's an exciting time at Miami in athletics, not just the fall sports, but going in the winter sports, heading into the spring sports. And we already have, if you knew the kids are already signed up for our junior day, and the quality of kids, the quality of students, like it's just going to keep getting better and better for us.
You know, as you move into spring ball just around the corner, Coach, obviously this team will have a new look to it. It's college football. It has it every year. You had such a large senior class and all very talented. You saw the depth in that infrastructure, particularly on the defensive side, but on the offensive side, you take a look at the Gus Raglins, the Kenny Youngs, Alonzo Smiths, and you can go on down the list. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity going into spring ball for your guys.
Yeah, in some positions, obviously we got the quarterback's one position. We don't have anybody that's played.
Right.
So that's obviously a major key position, and you don't have anybody that's really had any reps there. So that's it. Now you look at the other positions. Obviously, you lose Kenny and Zoe. Yeah. Okay, they've been crazy great players since they got here. You know, and a crazy big, small, but you got Mo, who has been really good every time we've given him the ball. And he's getting better all the time, and he's been a dynamic return guy, and he's been unselfish, and he's waited his time, and I can't wait to see Mo get more of lion's share of the work next year. Jalen Bester showed obviously this year what he can do. All right, that he didn't get as many opportunities, but the last 6 or 7 weeks, every time we gave 18 the football, it didn't look that much different than giving 3 the football, you know. And then you got Davion Johnson, who, again, when Zoe was beat up early and Kenny was out early, Davion got in there and was like, boy, the superstar, you know, but then we got healthy, and again, it kind of went back to taking a back seat because when Kenny and Zoe got healthy, there just is not enough touches to go around.
Right.
But you also saw in Minnesota what Davion Johnson can bring to the. So even though, again, I wish Zoe and Kenny were back, don't get me wrong, and they're going to be missed, and it's not, but you feel really good, and that's how I feel at most positions on the team, and I even feel that way at quarterback. Just Bester and Davion and Mo have played a lot of football. You play 4, 5, 6 tailbacks. Right. You don't play multiple. You have a quarterback that's good. You just don't rotate at quarterback. So losing Rigg and McCullum, 2 great football players.
Yes.
McCullum's a 4-year starter. Rigg's a 3-year starter. Came here and really grew this program from scratch.
Indeed.
But Skabinski started a lot of games for us. Yeah. It's almost like a starter coming back, even though he technically wasn't starting at the end of the year. Now we got a whole slew of young linemen that can fit that other. You know, I'm not Becker. Great player, but we already seen what Homer can do. You've seen what X-Man can do, and there's other guys in the coffer at tight end. I feel, you know, we don't lose any receivers. We got to add to that group. We know we got to add to that group. You know, defensively, you know, I thought it was going to be blah 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 blah. Well, no, we're playing at the end of the year, so which is cruddy. But
yeah, you're right.
There's only 2 seniors. You go in the last game, we only had 2 senior starters, Quentin Calcagno and Brad Koenig, you know. And again, obviously, we're going to miss DeAndre Montgomery and all the other seniors that were hurt, Junior McMullins and all. But we gained a lot of experience moving forward, you know, and we won a lot of games with those kids down the stretch. And moving forward, we actually, I'm like, God, we have more experienced defense than I ever imagined coming back, you know. Now we got a lot of backup holes to fill. So, again, everybody loses good players. We're to the point where we're happy we lose a lot of good players. Yeah. This was our first ever recruiting class. Right. And all of a sudden we have all these, we haven't had the year where we lost a whole slew of really good players. Well, this was our first ever recruiting class. There's a lot of good players in it. Yeah. And hopefully that's the way it is from here on out, that we're talking about, man, we're missing kids, but we have some young kids. And like we said, when these guys went down on injury this year, like, I feel bad for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I hate to see it get injured. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I recruited you to help us win games, and whether it's injury or whatever, you're getting your chance. That's what you came here for. Right. And those kids stepped up, and they kind of look around. Yeah, I did come here. I didn't come here to be his backup. Right. Even though I looked like I was going to be this year because he was a senior starter. But now, look what Jack Sorensen did. Yeah. Does Jack Sorensen get as many targets if James Gardner doesn't go down hurt? No. But when Jack had his opportunity, guess what? Jack can make some plays. Absolutely. You know, and Don Robinson stepped up, and Mayock got more touches, and Jalen Walker, and the whole, you know, so that's. So we're excited, and I'm mostly excited about who they are. I'm mostly excited about where our program is as far as togetherness and commitment and toughness and willing to work and not thinking that life's going to be easy. And so we won a lot of hard-fought games last year and went through a lot of battles that will only make us stronger, because that's how it is from here on out. Yeah. It's not going to be easier. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of close games that you got to find a way to win. All right, the big question, 29 signed national letters of intent. Everybody's waiting to hear. How many you think are going to make an impact on your program? I think a decent amount because of our senior class. You know, right. And again, I don't know about starters. But hey, maybe there's some talented kids here. Absolutely. But I think special teams for sure. I would think double-digit kids, at least 10 to 15 kids, are going to impact this football team next year. Just because this largest, you know, last year we had that really small. My first 4 years we had small senior classes, so there wasn't as many. There's a lot of opportunities, because even though defensively we lost all our stars, like I said, we weren't too deep in the back end. Like, some of those kids would have helped me down the stretch. You know? Sure. Some of those kids would have been running down a kickoff for me if we would have had them 3 weeks ago. So I think there's a lot of opportunities because of the size of the class and the talent of the class we just lost. And I think a lot of those kids mentally will be up for the challenge of doing that. Very good. Coach, thank you so much. It's been fun. It, yep, it's been awesome. It. Hey, Coach Chuck Martin joining us. Our National Signing Day special coming to an end here on this 2019 National Signing Day. 29 athletes. Want to welcome you all to Miami University. The next time you hear me, we won't be talking. I'll be yelling at a ref at a basketball game. There you go. I like that. I like that. So I'm sitting in Northern Kentucky. You'll turn around thinking, who's that idiot? And then it's your head football coach. So that's me. I'm listening to Chuck Martin in my ear, doing a basketball game in Northern Kentucky the other night. But actually, the next time I talk to Coach will be at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And you can watch our National Signing Day special live on ESPN3, as we'll recap the class once again for an hour on ESPN3. Don't forget, Coach Martin's press conference is coming up at 1:30 this afternoon as well. You got one more? There's a high school women's JV ref that has no idea what they're in for today. So good luck with that. They're working their day job right now, thinking they're going to go get their easy whatever they get paid. And there's going to be 7 people in the arena, and I'm sure they'll hear from me at some point. Very good. Take care, and make sure you tell Dulcie I said happy holidays. All right. Yes. All right. That'll do it for us today. Thanks for watching again. Stay tuned to the same stream. It will remain active, and we will have Coach Martin's press conference for you beginning at 1:30 this afternoon. Our special thanks to Kevin McKeon and Miami Savings Bank for making this show possible. This has been the 2019 Miami Football National Signing Day Special.